As the scene shifts to a town near the border of Grella, where the 12-year-old children receive a job appraisal from the priest, each child is assigned an occupation that matches their aptitude. The scene starts with our protagonist introducing himself to others, saying that he's Locke, a beast tamer. As the girl comes close to him, she says that it's cool and expresses disbelief that he can become a beast tamer. The girl is the magic user whose name is Emmy. Locke mentions that the priest didn't even know about the occupation. Gladiator Isak and Saint Ascara assure him that it's all right and raise his motivation, expressing their belief in his abilities. Locke thanks them, and they all promise each other that they will become the strongest in their respective occupations, aiming to form an S-rank party. Locke wonders if his occupation really matters, and considers that as long as he can always have fun with his friends, he'll be content. He decides to become the support his friends need to achieve their dreams. 3 years later, the scene shifts to the royal capital at Kronto, where it's raining outside. Locke finally arrives carrying stuff with him. As he's about to open the door, he hears the voices of his friends talking about him. Isak expresses his opinion to remove Locke from their party, calling his job nonsense and mentioning that Locke hasn't even tamed a single monster. He states that all Locke can do is carry their things and do other odd jobs that anyone else can do. Emmy defends Locke, mentioning that he's been trying to improve. She says that they are now a highly respected S-rank party. However, Isak replies they can't keep a deadweight like him in their party, especially if he can't even fight. And moreover, he asserted that the hero had shown interest in their party and stated that it's their chance, they can't miss it. He mentioned that if they can build a good relationship with the hero, then even the king will start to notice them. He expressed confidence that their village will also benefit from this. Emmy, feeling nervous, agreed that it might be true. Meanwhile, outside, Locke heard all of that and felt sad to hear their conversation. Isak announced that tomorrow they are going to meet the hero and enter the Dungeon of Flames of Destruction. He stated that with the hero's strength in their party, he is sure they will conquer the dungeon. Afterward, he decided to bid goodbye to Locke. Isak then casually mentioned that there's no problem if Emmy dates Locke. Emmy, trying her best, told Isak to wait. While outside, Locke also agreed with Isak and wondered if Isak was right. Until now, Locke had never had the chance to meet a magical beast. Most beast tamers either spent their whole life searching for magical beasts or pursued a different profession altogether. Regarding the skills of beast tamers, they comprise support magic as well as magic for enchanting their equipment, which helps raise their allies' base strength. Locke, however, only helped with cooking, carrying the party's luggage, and scouting for enemies, tanking damage for his teammates, and even negotiating with the guild, among other tasks left for him to do. Feeling broken, he expressed that they don't understand. As the scene shifted the next day, the hero kid introduced himself to Isak's party. It was an honor to work with them. Locke said to Isak that he didn't believe a hero joined their party. Isak looked at him and then ignored him. Kid started to talk to the ladies, saying that he's blessed to work with such beautiful ladies. Locke observed, noting that Kid is polite but wondered if he's complimenting too much. As Kid came to meet Locke, he just looked at him and told him to carry his things gently. He mentioned that there are items that Locke would never be able to buy even if he worked his entire life. Locke was startled and took back what he had just said about Kid. Kid clarified to Kid that Locke wasn't their servant. Kid heard that and mentioned that he thought so, considering Locke was carrying all of their stuff. They then set out, but before they left, Isak asked Kid why he didn't tell them about his equipment. Kid took out his dragon-slaying blade and explained that it was bestowed upon him by the king. He claimed that with this blade, one could even defeat a dragon. They were amazed to see it, but Locke noticed something and asked if there was a small crack in the hilt of the sword. Kid got angry, placed the sword on his neck, and insisted that there's no way it's true. He stated that Locke must not be a servant and told him not to spout nonsense. Isak told Kid to ignore Locke, called him an idiot, and asked what they should do. They proceeded straight to the dungeon. Kid declared that he would protect everyone from harm, and Emmy expressed confidence that they would definitely conquer the dungeon. Lara asked them to leave healing to her. They united their weapons, and Locke observed it, reminding him of his old memories of being together with them. As he wondered, he had always tried his best, and he was able to see through all the ups and downs they faced. His dream was to support everyone else's dream, but seeing them together, he wondered if he was no longer able to support them, even from the sidelines. As the scene shifted to the Dungeon of Flames of Destruction, they entered with Locke guiding them. Locke was having a meal as Isak, getting annoyed, asked why he was walking so slowly and if he couldn't walk faster. Locke had the skill monster radar, allowing him to know the estimated number and approximate location of the monsters inside the dungeon. Using this skill with a map helped drastically lower the possibility of encountering monsters. Isak screamed, asking if Locke heard what he said and if he could go faster. Locke turned and denied, saying that he couldn't. Isak was getting mad, telling him not to make excuses and to walk faster. Isak apologized to Kid, saying that he had to see that, mentioning that he wanted them to reach the boss as soon as possible. Kid noted that there seemed to be fewer monsters compared to the last time he came to that dungeon. He acknowledged that even if Locke was just a servant, he could still scout them. Isak asked if Locke had ever explored that dungeon before. Kid confirmed and explained that when he was a novice, he explored the dungeon with a self-proclaimed highly skilled adventurer, and almost lost their lives. He looked at Locke and mentioned that ever since, he never teamed with trash to explore the dungeon. Isak got mad and raged on Locke, asking why it was taking so long. He then looked at him, asking him to bring the boss monster to them while continuously cursing him. Kid looked at the map and then called Isak. He told him that Locke wasn't leaving and that he was leading them on the shortest route to the boss. They were stunned to hear that, and Isak asked if it was true. Locke, feeling nervous, tried to make them understand, but Isak didn't hear him and asked if he was doing that on purpose, and asked if he was trying to take revenge against them, make them take detours, and told him to stop fooling around. But Locke tried to clear himself, yet Emmy just slapped him, which left him stunned. Emmy looked at him and asked why he couldn't understand. Locke looked at her and realized that now even Emmy looked at him the same way as the others. He wondered when he had lost their trust. Locke had explained his reasoning many times before to them and everyone else, and was pissed, asking when he had lost their trust. Then Locke agreed to take the shortest route, but said that they would be encountering more monsters from there. Isak said that it wouldn't be a problem if they took them down. As they walked, many monsters attacked them, and if they were too slow, more monsters would gather. They started defeating the monsters. Seeing them, Locke wondered if he could still call them his friends. They reached a big door, and Locke told them that it's the place where the boss resides. Then he suggested they take a break to unload some of the luggage beforehand. Isak got mad and asked whom he thought made them late. Emmy added that not only were they late, but that Locke had also put them in a dangerous situation. Kid laughed, saying that Locke couldn't even read the mood. Locke replied that he got it, and Isak got mad for his condescending tone. Finally, Isak told Locke that he had always hesitated to tell him, and said that since he's been useless, he would be fired once they complete the dungeon. He mentioned that they would go even further with Kid and their team. Locke looked at them, said that he understands, and mentioned that he would take it that Emmy and the others also agreed to it. As the four of them joined their hands, concluding that they are the number one party, they made their way to enter the boss's place. Locke looked at them, remembering similar moments with them. He was told to watch the fight from behind, and for one last time he'd support them by enhancing their weapons. As they went in, they were all stunned to see a large gray wolf. They saw it sleeping and wondered how even an E-rank adventurer could defeat a gray wolf when they weren't supposed to at the boss level. However, the wolf looked more like silver. Locke realized that it's a Fenrir and was surprised to encounter a legendary monster in such a dungeon. Even an S-rank adventurer couldn't take it down easily. The others still considered it a gray wolf and rushed towards it to attack. Locke tried to stop them, but they didn't hear him and attacked the monster. As Kid struck the monster, the blade from his sword flew back, and he was stunned to see his sword broken. The Fenrir looked at them, and just then, Kara fell down. Locke realized that Kara was inflicted with the fear status ailment. Kid screamed a warning to Isak, telling him to step back, as he said that no matter how strong of a hero he is, he can't fight without a sword. Isak got mad, saying that the fight hadn't started yet. Kid mentioned that if it had started a second time, then he would be dead. If he had been asleep, they would not have received any damage. But now that it's awake, it's better to run away. Isak heard him and ordered everyone to retreat, seeing Locke running ahead of them. He commented that Locke is good at running, though Locke was clueless as he just happened to be in the front. Then, Kid told him not to worry and got in front of Locke. He stabbed his broken sword into his own chest, saying that there's another way for them to use an idiot like him. Locke fell down, injured, as Kid took the spare sword and the king's sword along with the rest of the luggage. Kid then called Isak and asked if, with that act, he had become the official part of their party. As he smiled and confirmed that, Locke was stunned to hear that. They started retreating, leaving Locke behind. Locke couldn't believe that it's really happening. Emmy also left him, apologizing to him. Locke looked at them and realized that it had come to this, that he was hated to the extent he wondered that he didn't mind dying like that. He remembered his memories with his friends and the promise they had made together. As Fenrir was getting close to Locke, he wondered what was wrong with him. As Fenrir opened his mouth, Locke was in tears, wondering that even though he had been forced into that kind of situation, he just can't bear a grudge against them. As the Fenrir gets close and remarks on how cruel humans are, letting one of their own perish to save them, he adds that Locke's death will be swift and painless. Locke is stunned, turns around, and stops the Fenrir, asking if he can speak human language. Even the Fenrir is surprised and asks if Locke can understand what he's saying. Locke replies that it seems to be the case and wonders if it's true. Could be one of the skills that he possesses as a beast tamer. The Fenrir then asks if Locke still wishes to fight, mentioning that he's free right now, and fighting might help pass the time. Locke gets scared and says that he would really appreciate it if the Fenrir could just let him go. But Fenrir is in the mood for a game and asks him to play, stating that it's boring for him to stay on the floor where he can't even get out. Nervous, Locke starts to find something and takes out Isak's breastplate, throwing it away. The Fenrir catches it and gives it to Locke, asking what he's doing. Locke throws it away again, and Fenrir chases after it and grabs it. The Fenrir is mad, saying that he doesn't get what's going on. Locke smiles and says that it's a good thing he learned how to take care of a dog when he was a kid. He then mentions that the Fenrir had said he couldn't get out, and the Fenrir tells him there's a strong barrier that even he can't break. Locke asks if he could get out of the dungeon. Would Fenrir go on an adventure with him? The Fenrir laughs and says that he's not against that idea. Locke wonders if Fenrir wants to become his friend. Just then, Locke remembers that he heard something, and recalls reading about the Beast Tamer's occupation, where it was stated that after an event, there would be a change in the listener. He wonders if it's the requirement needed for that change. Just then, he hears a voice in his head saying that the Fenrir has become his friend, and since he has met all the conditions, he'll be given access to the mini monster garden. Surprised to hear a voice in his head, Locke wonders what sort of effect that would have and says that he just has to see for himself what's going to happen next. Suddenly, the Fenrir starts to feel like he's brimming with power. Locke introduces himself to Fenrir, and they both greet each other. The Fenrir says that calling him a Fenrir doesn't feel right, so he asks Locke to give him a good name. Locke thinks about it and then comes up with the name Lucky. He asks how it sounds, and Fenrir gets mad hearing that name. Suddenly, he realizes that it's a good name, finds it cool, and says that he's really happy with it. Then, suddenly, a treasure chest appears, sees it, and realizes that making Fenrir his friend is equivalent to defeating a boss. He opens it and finds a bracelet and a massive fillet in it. The Fenrir gets amazed, saying that the red collar is cool, and asks Locke to put it on him. Locke ties the collar around his neck and wears the bracelet on his hand. Then he hears a voice saying that the mini monster garden has been equipped, and he can enter or leave the garden whenever he wishes to do so. Locke is still confused, and then Fenrir asks what's wrong, urging him to show what it does. As Fenrir touched the bracelet, suddenly he got into that bracelet. Locke was stunned and asked if he was okay. Fenrir replied that he's fine, and then he got out of that bracelet, enjoying the experience and saying that it was really interesting to get in. He decided to try it out. Closing his eyes, he thought about the garden, and then he opened his eyes, finding himself in a whole different place. Locke was stunned to see that place, having a hut in front of him. The place was calm, and Fenrir felt like taking a nap. Locke looked around and considered that the place didn't look very spacious, but both the temperature and the weather were good. If they ever needed to store their things, they could use that hut as a storehouse. Locke wondered that while there are magic items that give access to another dimension, he had never seen one that allows one's familiar to enter. Then, Lucky inquired about their next move. Locke pondered, recalling what all the other S-rank adventurers had done so far. He expressed the hope that they could recruit more monsters like Lucky. Excited, Lucky agreed, stating that he was confident there would be many others like him eager to escape. However, Locke pointed out that to make this plan a reality, they first needed to navigate through this floor. Without hesitation, Lucky took Locke on his back, told him to hold on tight, and then he started running towards the exit. Locke thanked him, and it was surprising to him that the distance they traveled on foot was covered in such a short time. At that rate, they would arrive at the carrier soon, and the staircase would lead them out from there. Then, Locke told Lucky to turn around towards the right opening. Lucky asked why they should turn right, and Locke explained that the opening straight ahead was the shortest route to their destination. However, Locke mentioned that there is a swarm of monsters waiting for them ahead, and he wants to avoid them. Lucky appreciated this and said it's good to have a guy like Locke around. As they were about to take the right turn, suddenly, Locke asked him to wait. He stopped, got down, and saw the dead corpses of the monsters. Lucky asked about it, and Locke explained that the materials from the monsters can be sold for a lot of money, and some of them can be used to make delicious food. Lucky got excited hearing about delicious food. Then, Locke took a corpse and said the word store, and it vanished from his hand. Amazed, Lucky asked when he learned how to store things like that. Locke replied that when he was riding on his back, he just had a feeling that this method of item storage was possible. They reached the barrier, and Locke identified the need to deal with the real issue. Lucky tried to pass the barrier, but he wasn't able to. He expressed that he guessed this is as far as he can go and thanked Locke for the adventure. Locke encouraged him not to give up just yet. For now, requested him to get inside the mini monster garden. Lucky was glad, realizing they are going to pass like that. Locke was nervous as he wasn't sure if they would be able to pass through safely. He tried to pass, and then they were able to pass with no problem. Locke called out to Lucky, who was glad that Locke really did it. They made it out of the dungeon, seeing the outside world. Lucky was very excited and said that he's truly grateful. He claimed that he would never have imagined that there would be a way he can get out of the dungeon, and said that he looks forward to their journey. Locke agreed, saying that he hopes the same. They showed signs of being friends, and Locke wondered if it's the first time he made Fenrir his friend, taking it as a new beginning for him. Then, the scene shifted to the royal capital of Kronto, where everyone was stunned to see Fenrir with Locke, as it was expected by Locke. The guards came there to defend the Adventurers Guild as a huge gray wolf appeared. Locke tried to stop them, saying that it's his familiar, but they weren't listening at all. Then, a lady came out who was the guild's receptionist, Rika, and asked what all that was about. Rika recognized Locke and welcomed him. Seeing him, Rika asked if he was supposed to explore the Dungeon of Flames of Destruction with his party. She was surprised to see the huge wolf, and Locke explained that it was not a dog, but his familiar Fenrir. Upon hearing that, Rika asked if he meant the one from that legend. She congratulated him and expressed happiness that he could work as a beast tamer. The guards were stunned to hear that it was a Fenrir. Rika then said that Locke needed to register himself and his family, and she took care of the registration. Once completed, Locke thanked Rika. She then asked what happened to the rest of his team. Locke asked if they hadn't returned yet, and she denied it. Locke thought and said that he was stabbed and then abandoned by Kid while they were in the dungeon, and he was sure that they'd be back in town by now. Rika got nervous and asked if he's okay. He mentioned that he was stabbed, but Kid's sword was snapped in half, so he didn't sustain any fatal injuries. Rika said that the rumor was true, and Locke asked about the rumor. Rika explained that the rumor was that Kid used the sword to kill the Fenrir. Locke said that the rumor was true, and Locke used his friends as a decoy to escape the dungeon, and it had started to circulate. Then, Rika asked why Locke was targeted. He replied that maybe he was the least useful member in the party. Rika was surprised to hear that, and said that she's sure that Locke was the most essential member of the party. Locke was confused, and mentioned that the work he did for the party could have been done by another person. Rika told him that it was because Locke was present that the party could become an S-rank party, and asked how it came to such a great misunderstanding. Rika explained that because it had come to the Grayla party would be demoted to below B rank. Locke couldn't believe that they could be demoted from S rank. He emphasized that their individual fighting ability couldn't be underestimated. Rika agreed, but pointed out that betraying one party member is a violation of the guild's rule and cannot be ignored. She added that the fact they hadn't returned from an S-rank dungeon could be an indication of their lack of ability. Locke realized that it's true, they have not come back, and Anu and others were still with Kid in the dungeon. Locke started running as Rika called him and said that if he goes back and helps them, then he would be treated unfairly again. Locke realized that might be the case, but then he remembered them and smiled, saying that he just wants to simply return their luggage back to them. Rika looked at him and mentioned that she understands. Then, Locke rushed towards the dungeon. Seeing him, Fenrir asked if he was departing. Locke inquired if he'll be coming with him. Lucky replied that he'll just say that they have betrayed him once, and they will surely do it again in the future. Locke acknowledged that and stated it'll be the last time he'll be helping them. Lucky affirmed that since he made his mind, he won't go against his decision. He got onto Lucky's back, and they rushed towards the dungeon. In the dungeon where Kid was, he called them morons and complained that they surely didn't have a map. He wondered why they didn't remember the route. Isaac got mad and told him to shut up, while Kara said that they always had Locke to guide them around the dungeon. Kid continued to complain, asking if they were really an S-rank party because their movement started to get dull. He was pissed and wondered why they kept encountering those endless hordes of monsters, despite taking a certain route. Kid was sure the monsters would get weaker as they went to the lower levels, but he felt like the monsters were getting stronger and wondered what they should do now. They entered a place where Isaac suggested taking a break. As they settled down, Isaac mentioned that they just arrived on the 4th floor shortly, and they could manage until they reached the lower levels where the monsters would surely get weaker. Then he asked Kid if his spare sword was in good condition. Kid, being angry, told him to shut up and said that he should be more worried about his sword since he's been using it for a long time. But the moment Isaac saw his sword, he was stunned and asked how that sword was still in good condition. Isaac said that he may have bought his sword from the market on the street, but there's no rust and not even a nick on the blade. Kid was shocked to hear that and asked Emmy and Kara to show their staves. As he looked at them, he couldn't believe and asked how he could team up with a bunch of moronic fools. As Isaac gets mad hearing that, Kid said that they really didn't have any idea. All this time, they greatly benefited from that servant's divine protection, and it's no wonder that they could become an S-rank party in less than 3 years. Isaac was surprised to hear that, and asked what he meant by basket and got mad, saying that he needed to hear that they rose in rank and achieved S-rank through their own efforts. Kid clarified that it's not basket, it's divine protection. He explained that one can receive divine protection when the spellcaster is present, and their swords and staves will not be damaged easily, since it is a magical skill that can raise a weapon's durability. It is a useful skill that can raise an ally's base ability. He told them that they only relied on his divine protection all this time, and never once felt any gratitude towards him. Isaac was stunned to hear that. Kid cleared them that without the servant, they are pretty much as strong as a party filled with C-rank adventurers. They were shocked to hear that, as Isaac couldn't believe that it's the reality that he was able to become S-rank because of Locke. As he reminisced about his childhood where Locke was always appreciated for his swordsmanship, and Isaac was taught to do it like Locke, he was pissed, wondering that Locke was always in front of him. But then he said that as now Locke was no longer in their party, he'll not refuse to believe that he was the reason that they got this far. Kid was getting mad, and then he called out to Kara, asking how many times she can cast a healing spell. She replied that it would be once or twice for each person in the party. He asked about Emmy, and she said that if she conserves her magic, she can still fight reasonably well. Kid thought about it and realized that if they wish to reach the staircase that will lead them to the 4th floor, they will need to get through 5 orange ants first. But those monsters will surely call their allies to help them fight, and considering the fact that they are quite fatigued, fighting them head-on is a bad idea. Then he directed Kara to heal each of them once, and assigned Isaac as the vanguard with Emmy right behind him. He positioned himself next to Kara, taking on the role of the rear guard, and asked if they were fine with that. They agreed to his strategy. Kara healed them, and then Kid told them not to look back as they will be going by cutting their way through. Just then, Kid attacked Kara from behind, and then said that there isn't any need for healing magic. He said that he's really glad that she'll act as a decoy for them to escape. Being injured, Kara fell down as the 5 orange ants surrounded her. She was scared to see them, and screamed not to abandon her as just then, the monster ants attacked her. As Isaac was mad, he asked why Kid cut down Kara. Kid said that he had no choice, but a sacrifice was needed for them to survive. He told them not to worry, as no one will find out about what happened there, and they are still in a dungeon. Isaac said that's not what he meant, as Kid said that they are accomplices. They were stunned to hear that and asked about it. Kid said that they benefited greatly when Net's servant was still around, and the fact that they would abandon such a person is enough to prove their motive as accomplices. Kid was mad, asking why did he even agree to team up with a bunch of useless fools, and said there's no way he will be working with them again in the future. As Isaac told him to shut up, saying that he's not even as strong as he claims to be. As Isaac attacked the ants, he asked why they were unaffected by his attack, as it wasn't hard to deal with them before. He realized that it was because of Locke after all. As he was distracted, suddenly the ants were about to attack him from behind, and Isaac was helpless. Then suddenly, Locke came there with his Fenrir and swashed those ants. They were stunned to see him as Isaac looked at him and said that he should be dead. Locke replied that he came back from hell. Fenrir asked if they should kill them and said as long as they are in the dungeon, no one will find out if they killed them. Then Emmy called out to Locke and pleaded with him to save Kara and told him that she's still on the 5th floor of the dungeon. Locke was stunned and asked what they did to her. Kid revealed that they had no choice but a sacrifice was needed for their survival. Fenrir said that it's ridiculous, as they betrayed Locke and yet still have the guts to ask him for his help. But then, Locke asked Lucky to go and save Kara. As Lucky commented on Locke as a kind-hearted man, they went to the 5th floor. As Locke was defeating all the monsters on the 5th floor, Fenrir was also helping him, as there were so many of them. Locke realized that the scent of blood seems to be the cause as to why so many of them had gathered there. Then, he looked at Lucky, wondering that he can be courageous now that he has Lucky with him. Then he dashed towards the monsters and finished defeating them. Fenrir praised him, saying that he displayed some impressive movements during their fight. Locke was glad, saying that it's his first time fighting like that. Then they started looking for Kara. As Fenrir found her and showed her to Locke, he went there and looked after her. She was badly injured. Locke reminisced about his memories with her, and then he apologized, saying that he didn't make it in time. Locke hugged her, being in tears. Then suddenly, Kara came into motion as if she was alive. As she opened her eyes, seeing Locke in front of her, she asked what was she there and asked if she was in heaven. As then, Kara apologized to him for leaving him behind. Then, Locke expressed that it's not important right now and noted that there's another problem now. She's not dead. She was confused. Locke informed her that the beast they have to face is the gatekeeper of hell and emphasized that they have to take that guy down. Kara looked at Fenrir, then she smiled, and suddenly she fell down. Locke mentioned that she fainted. They then decided to return to the town. As then, Locke noticed an opening and said that it's the entrance to the nest of the orange ants. Fenrir was glad to hear that as he expected delicious eggs there. As they went there and saw the orange ants' eggs, they noticed that some of them looked different from the other eggs, and others were smashed down by someone. Suddenly the eggs cracked and the orange ants came out. They rushed towards Locke, and to his astonishment, they started crying. Locke said, calling him Papa. Locke was nervous. Just then, a voice in his mind said that it seems that the orange ants want to befriend him, and asked if he wants to befriend them. Locke was stunned to hear that voice, and then he wondered that it would be really sad if they were to leave them alone. He agreed to befriend them. Suddenly, a bright light occurred, and then the ants turned into humanoid forms. Then they were transferred to the mini monster garden. Locke said that he'll be going to take a look at the mini garden and asked Fenrir to take care of Kara. He gets into the mini monster garden. As he entered, he was notified that the ants had returned to the garden. He was notified that since he has befriended 6 new monsters, he will be able to upgrade the mini monster garden and gave him 6 features to choose. Locke decided to improve the river, the pond, the herb, and the fruit trees. He also upgraded the vegetable field. After that, the garden was upgraded, and Locke was amazed to see that it really got bigger. Then he saw some girls preparing the monster. He went there and asked if they were the orange ants from before. They called him Papa and said that they are sorting out the materials from the monsters he took down. Locke was surprised to see that the ants had returned to the mini monster garden. He was appreciated her. The girl asked if she's a good girl. Locke, being nervous, patted her and agreed. Locke noticed and wondered why only that girl was wearing a tiara, and wondered if she perhaps a special breed when compared to the other orange ants. As then, he returned to the real world. Seeing him return, Fenrir conveyed that there was trouble. Locke, concerned, inquired about it. Fenrir explained that all the eggs hatched open, and he couldn't eat any of them. Locke, relieved, said that he'll treat him with something delicious later. As then, the scene shifted where Locke came out of the dungeon. He saw Kid and Isak arguing with Rika, saying that it had nothing to do with that party, and it's about their friend. But Rika said that Mr. Locke asked her to wait until he's back. Locke went there and asked what the matter was. As Rika saw him, she told him that Kid and Isak were denying everything Mr. Locke was saying. Kid came forward, saying that the guild was making strange accusations and asked if he could explain them properly. Locke asked what he wanted him to explain. He asked if it meant they had been struggling with the 4th floor, even though they were S rank, or if it was the time when he used Kara as bait by slashing her on the 5th level. He asked if it was that time when he stabbed him while escaping from Fenrir. As Kid was nervous, Isak cursed Locke, saying that he didn't have any idea what he was saying. Kid told him to calm down, and said to Locke that just because he was fired from an S-rank party, doesn't mean that he can lie and make up false accusations. He asked if he had any evidence. As Locke thought about the evidence, accusing his wrong and warned him, saying that he's a hero and he can make sure to tell the king about this. He grinned at him, asking if he understood what he meant. Then Locke asked for a second and took out Kid's sword, showing them. He said that the wound in his armor perfectly matches with his sword, and asked if that's enough evidence. Kid claimed that he probably had claimed himself and asked for Isak's confirmation, but Isak was quiet as Kid was pissed. Then Locke asked Emmy how she's going to explain Kara. She kneeled in front of him and apologized to him, saying that it's all because of her that she didn't reach out her hand to her. Locke said Kara died because she didn't have the power to fight back, and that had nothing to do with them. Locke claimed that Kid had stabbed her in the back, but Kid asked for the proof, saying that he can't really get any proof from the corpse. Then Locke looked at Kara and asked her to wake up, and asked if Kid was the one who tried to kill her. As Locke said that he knows she's asleep, she wakes up and asks if it isn't cool to see her. Emmy was stunned and in tears. Locke punched her, telling her to wake up, and she finally woke up. Emmy rushed and hugged her tight, but Locke interrupted and asked Kara to look over there. Kid was getting mad as Kara, on seeing Kid, also got mad and asked how dare he cut her and make her a decoy. Locke was nervous and the people started to curse Kid. Rika said that the evidence is the witness and that's all they needed. Rika started to state all his crimes and said that at the very least, they needed to strip him of his hero name. Kid was all screwed. Then Locke bid goodbye to Rika and she thanked him for his cooperation. Isaac called out to Locke, and as he turned around, he suddenly kneeled down in front of him and apologized, admitting that he did half. He expressed the desire to continue being an S-rank party. Locke looked at him and asked, didn't he know that Kid was going to kill him? Isaac was nervous to hear that, and he said that he didn't know what he was talking about. Locke pointed out that Isaac mentioned that Locke is the member of his party that runs, and he was sure that they were trying to kill him all along. Isaac denied that, screaming, and said that he was not going to let him say that. He asked if Locke knew how much he's been taking care of him, and claimed that he was the one who got him to the S rank. But then Rika denied, saying that it seemed that Isaac had misunderstood something. She said that it's because of Locke that they were in the S rank. Rika clarified that Locke was the only one with a rank ability in their party, and they were probably C rank, or maybe even B rank at their best. Locke was also surprised to hear that. Rika said that if Locke made a party with an E-rank adventurer, then they could probably expect the same results. Isaac was mad and told them not to play with them. He cursed Rika, who claimed them to be weaker than B rank. Rika confirmed that it's true. Isaac got mad and asked to have them fight, and if Locke wins, then he will accept the demotion. But if they win, then Rika has to pretend that the case never existed. Locke was nervous and tried to calm him, but Rika agreed to his conditions. Locke was shocked and said that he hadn't joined any party yet, but Rika told him to do it. Then Rika said that this is a request from the guild and asked him to team up with an E-rank adventurer and show them his training abilities. Locke accepted her request, and it was a temporary party. Rika instructed Isaac that it's him, Emmy, and Kara. They'll have those 3 people challenge it. She explained that regardless of Kid, who was under suspicion of murder from before, he couldn't participate. Kid inquired about it, and she clarified that it was so many years ago, but Kid argued that she didn't have proof for that. Just then, a person said that he'll testify. The person revealed his face, mentioning that he used to be a member of an E-rank party known as Jet Black Spear, and told Kid not to tell him that he forgot about it. As Kid denied, saying that he didn't know, the person stated that it was the dungeon of extracting, and their friends took the bait too. He mentioned that he tried to help, and when he got back to the city, people told him about it. He heard that people were saying that it was a story from a nameless adventurer or the hero with connections in the capital. The person was in tears, saying that he only had done his job properly. Rika pointed out that no matter how many connections, this time Kid can't escape that evidence. Kid said to Isaac that he didn't know, and he told him that he didn't know, and he told that he shouldn't have joined that small party. Locke replied that he's right and called him a fraud hero. Kid expressed his unwillingness to be a proclaimed S-rank party, and then took out his sword, slashing the men in front of him. Kid said that he's getting caught by the guild for the reason that he doesn't even remember. Locke told him to stop as he was trying to do it more. Kid, being mad, told him to shut up and not to talk to him, claiming that he's not the type to go down. He rushed towards Emmy and placed his sword on her neck. They screamed, telling him to stop. Rika said that they can still go back to how things were. Kid told them to shut up, saying that he doesn't even want to be a part of that damn guild. As Emmy was struggling, Kid instructed them to move aside if they didn't want Emmy to get hurt. They gave way to Kid. As he took Emmy and escaped from there, Locke rushed towards him. As he gets out, he sees Lucky there and Kid injured on the ground. As Locke saw Lucky, he asked how about it. Lucky made sure that Kid didn't explode from his hands. Locke was glad and thanked Lucky as they were about to restrain Kid safely. As the guards came and took Kid with them, Locke thanked Lucky again. Locke then said to Isak and Emmy that he had delivered their luggage. Isak was pissed, and Emmy bowed in front of him, apologizing to Locke. Isak stopped her, saying that's enough. He knew it wasn't any contest, but he didn't have a choice but to put him back in the party and asked if that would be enough. Locke sighed and apologized, saying that he's not going to be in a party with them. Isak was mad hearing that. Kara said that it's right, and considered that Locke is the one who's been betraying her fellow, so he's going to be in a party with her. Locke asked how that could be, and Kara was stunned to hear that. She asked if he was also abandoning her as she blamed Isak for bringing that kind of person there. They started arguing. Emmy came there and told them to stop. She said that from that dungeon, they guys understood that Locke has been the one who's been helping them the most. And they didn't want to admit it, and just pretend that it's not the case. She stated that everything was their fault. Isak was frustrated. Seeing the tension, Rika suggested that they should move on to the challenge. Locke agreed to her. Rika told them the details of the contest, and mentioned that it would range from C to B level of difficulty. Isak grinned and asked, "What's with that low-rank request?" questioning if she's underestimating them. He declared that there's no way he's losing to Locke. Locke looked at the request and saw they had to bring the rainbow dragonfly's oregano eggs, the flying dragon scales and fangs, and fresh green emerald within a week. Locke wondered if it's pretty simple, but he asked Isak if he's sure. Isak, being confident, asked if he's chickening out. Then he takes the request. He's stunned to see the request as he screams out, asking what's with the request. Rika asked what seems to be the matter and asked if their S-Class party is leaving now. Locke realized how it was. They dashed up being an S-Class party, and the guild has all the information, including all the requests they have completed in the meantime. Kara's dislike towards oregano, Emmy's fear towards insect demons, and they also know that. It means that this is the warning from the guild that they will not tolerate adventurers who do not follow the rules. As Isak was mad and had to accept that, they left. Rika then said that as for Locke, she'll introduce him to the E-Class adventurers. Locke conveyed to Lucky that this might take a while, and mentioned that he enjoyed his stay for the meantime. Lucky nodded, and then he went with Rika. She asked Locke if there was anything he hated about making a party. Locke thought about it, and mentioned that he didn't really like being betrayed, and also didn't like people who don't follow directions. She confirmed, stating that she's the deputy director's assistant, so she has the authority, and mentioned that she's not their typically cute receptionist. Locke reminisced about Rika being the receptionist for the past 3 years, and her appearance still hasn't changed. He considered that she's still cute but has power in the guild in fairness, and realized that she's quite old. Rika, seeing Locke, asked what happened. Locke got nervous and said that it's nothing, lying that he was just wondering what kind of a person E-Class adventurers are. Rika mentioned that she's in a bit of an unusual situation, but didn't think that she'll betray them. Then it rebelled against them. Locke asked about it, and Rika confirmed, stating that she's a little skeptical about it. Anyway, she'll be meeting him at the training grounds and mentioned that she wants him to give her a good beating. They reached the training ground, and Locke saw an elf girl in front of him. Rika introduced her to Locke, saying that she's Shannon. Locke looked at her and noticed a slave collar. Rika mentioned that she was taken in by the guild for a reason as she's a slave and an adventurer. Locke was confused and asked what she meant. Rika mentioned that she understood and said that all 5 of Shannon's previous masters have died from suspicious deaths. It's all by chance, as 2 cases were natural and 1 case was poisoning, and a fall off a cliff attacked by a demon all happened one by one. She said that her last master had a thing for the guild and had no guild affiliation. Locke heard that and wondered if he was sure that it was not just bad luck that it's happening in succession. But then Shannon declared that she's a Grim Reaper and asked if he didn't want to die, then refused that request. Locke was nervous and mentioned that even if she told him that, this is the only thing. Just then, Shannon placed her sword at his neck, saying that weak people can't even avoid that degree, and told him not to get involved with her. Locke asked what if they did otherwise as Shannon was getting mad, and asked what isn't understood, and asked if he wanted to die that bad. As she was in tears, Shannon said that she had reached the point of becoming a slave because she had given up on his life and didn't have a choice, and told Locke that he did not have to be a part of that. She cried, saying that she's sick of seeing someone die again. Locke said if he's just stronger than her, Then her bad asked if that will be a problem, as he took a wooden sword and said that someone as kind as she's, he can't just leave her alone. Shannon, being mad, told him to shut up and asked if he didn't have the intention of stopping. As Locke confirmed, and then she dashed towards him, saying that she'll just make him understand. As she attacked Locke, as he barely dodged that and defended her next attack, as Locke observed her skills and realized that she's quick, and it seems that she must have swung that sword 10 of thousands of times. But just then, Locke swings his sword and makes her sword lose from her hand, as Shannon was stunned RTIC that Locke said that standing muscles that are too clean to predictable, and said that they are done here. But then Shannon kicked him, saying that she haven't lost yet, as Locke defended that as Shannon kept on fighting him, as Locke realized that she got a solid foundation in martial arts, but her technique is clearly not up to the task. As then, Locke grabbed her hand and smacked her in the ground, saying that it'll hurt Jerv a little, as she fell down and cried in pain as Locke finished the fight. As then Shannon stood up, saying if she acknowledged her defeat, then he will also end up dying. Locke screams, telling her not to kill him without asking. Said that he won't ask that easily. Shannon was broken, expressing that they said that and still ended up dying. That's why she stood up, stating that she absolutely can't lose. Locke mentioned that he'll just show her the reason why he won't die. Then he called out Fenrir, and as Fenrir emerged, there was a bright light. Shannon was stunned to see it and said that it's impossible. Having a Fenrir is a familiar. Shocked, she asked just who he was. As the scene shifted to Shannon's past, she was called and asked to wait. Turning around, she saw her brother, who was 5 years younger than her. They resided in the home of the elves, and she thought that they would live in peace for the rest of their lives. But suddenly one night, her brother Seth went missing in the Forest of Affection. Her father and others went to search for Seth, and her parents told her to stay there and take care of the house. However, she thought that her precious brother was still in danger, and went out to search for him. As she kept on going in the forest, she suddenly saw a mage's house. The forest was where they used to play, a place where human mages and elves swore friendship, and it was called the Forest of Affection. In that very forest, there was a human mage's residence, and except for a few, it was an off-limit zone. Shannon was amazed to see that it had been hundreds of years, and it hadn't been damaged at all. She went inside and looked around. There was no one living there, but there was no speck of dust to be seen. Then she noticed a door opened. She went there calling Seth. As she went in, she saw Seth lying on a table. She rushed towards him, checked him, and realized that his pulse and breathing were going fast. She needed to bring him home quickly. Just then, she was stunned and looked aside as she saw a large black eye. It disappeared, and she suddenly took Seth on her back. She tried to open the gate, but it was not opening. The eye appeared again and asked about the one who will be saved. She screamed, asking to save Seth. A black ray hit Shannon, and just after that, she didn't remember what happened. When she regained consciousness, she was lying on the bed, and Seth was smiling. She was smiling in the house as if yesterday was a lie. She wondered if it was just a dream. But after that day, strange things started to happen. The creatures around her started to die, and the creatures that died afterward gradually got bigger and bigger. Her last family's horse died, and when she talked to her parents, they didn't take her seriously. So she left her village quietly alone without telling them. As she had only known the world and her village, the world out there seemed too cruel. The next thing she knew, she had been reduced to a slave. But then, her first master taught her that it's better to study and learn things about the world. He was very kind and gentle, teaching her about the world. However, after 6 months, her master passed away. The lady of her new master knew about her. And then the second master died of an illness after 3 months. The third one died within a week of falling off a cliff, and the fourth one took poison herself. The fifth one was attacked by a monster and died. Anyone who came in contact with her would die. Somewhere along the line, she became known and feared as the Brim Reaper, as she didn't want anyone else to die. She was at her wits' end when she was taken in by an organization called the Guild. She hoped to go to prison to avoid involvement with anyone. However, the Guild thought differently, and Rika asked if she would join their party as an E-rank adventurer. Shannon preferred anonymity, so she told them what happened, expecting them to say no. She mentioned that sometimes it was sheer brute force. She went for a while, but one day a man appeared who introduced himself as Locke. She tried to reject him that time as well, but instead of going away, he took her seriously. She mentioned that she heard he got banished from his S-rank party, but he was stronger than anyone and very kind. When he showed her the reason he won't die and called out Fenrir, displaying his tremendous ability, Shannon couldn't believe that he made the legendary Fenrir his familiar. The curse she used to hear all the time, the thought that if she died, everything would be solved, was something she had always thought. But that's just because she had been suppressing her true feelings. She said that she still wanted to live and looked at Locke, wishing him to be the person she could rely on. Just then, she collapsed and fell down. Locke rushed towards her and asked if she was all right. Rika looked after her and said that she was all right, but it seemed a little overwhelming for her. She looked as if a weight had been lifted off her chest. Rika left, saying that she would let her rest a bit. As Locke noticed Lucky and turned around, he asked if Lucky barking at her was a bad idea. Locke denied, saying it turned out to be just all right and thanked Lucky for that. Then, Lucky asked what Locke was going to do. As Lucky howled, the bird fainted and fell down. Just then, Locke heard a voice telling him that a skybird wanted to be his friend and asked if he would befriend it. Locke agreed, considering that it would be fun to have a lot of friends. The skybird was befriended and transported to the garden. Shannon came there, and seeing her, Locke asked if she was already fine. Shannon was nervous and then bowed down, apologizing for what she did before. Locke replied that he thought she was thinking of the other person when she did that. Shannon thanked him, acknowledging that she was all right. She said that she was fine and that she was happy to be with him. Locke smiled and accepted, saying it was nice to meet her. She was glad and greeted him back. Then, Lucky touched Shannon. Locke was stunned when Lucky smashed a rock with just a touch, but Shannon was all right. Lucky mentioned that he's developing and, more importantly, confirmed that she had a pretty powerful curse on her. Locke asked if it could be broken or something. Lucky said that he couldn't break it, as that kind of delicate work was not for him. But he believed that Locke could break it. However, he was not sure if he could break it. However, Locke denied it, lacking the knowledge about it. Lucky grabbed Locke's head, stunning him, and suddenly Locke felt all the knowledge flowing inside his head. He realized it was the opposite of divine protection and thanked Lucky. Then, Lucky told Locke to try it. But someone came there and told Locke to stop. As he turned around, it was the guild chief with Rika, stating that he couldn't let Locke break that curse. As Locke was stunned to hear and asked what she meant, he couldn't let him break the curse. Titus said that he knows Shannon is currently a slave from the guild, and according to guild rules, they cannot have amateurs spell-breaking their staff. Locke gets mad, saying this isn't the time to talk about it, and if they don't take action quickly, then Shannon will. Titus interrupted, saying that Locke didn't seem to be his usual self, and told him if he let his emotions get the better of him, then he'll end up just like Isaac. Locke realized and apologized to them. Titus said that so many things had happened and claimed that Locke is a little tired. Locke agreed, but then asked if Shannon can't get rid of the curse on his staff. Then is it fine if she's not his staff? Titus praised him, saying that he's really something, and said that he thought he'd give him a little more time to cool his head. So he decided to go straight to the point and asked if he wanted to buy Shannon from the guild. As Locke was stunned to hear that, Titus said that if he did that, she wouldn't be part of the staff anymore, and he'll be able to break her curse. He asked what Locke thinks about it. Locke was confused and mentioned that he didn't have any clue. Titus asked what he thinks the Adventurers Guild is for. Locke asked if it was for adventurers to make a living. Titus agreed, stating that there's also that part, and mentioned that he believed that this guild is to make adventurers happy. That's why Isaac and others' betrayal was acceptable, but that won't change anything for them. So he mentioned that he can say that he's naive, but was hoping for them to use that chance to take a fresh look at themselves. He mentioned that then to express his gratitude to him who supported them through their hardship, and looked at Shannon, saying that she also had her fair share of rough hardships. But still, she's a sweet girl who cares for others. He mentioned that they both have been through a lot, and having sacrificed themselves makes them good partners. He mentioned that he'd be happy if he could help her, and would appreciate it if Shannon could support Locke as well. As Locke was surprised to hear that, and wondered that he didn't think that anyone would understand him, he realized that there were people watching over him. Locke smiled and looked at Shannon, asking what she wanted. She got nervous, saying that she doesn't have the luxury to decide. But then she said that as long as Locke and the others won't be harmed, she'd like to go with them. Then, Locke decided that he'll take Shannon with him, but ask how much that would be. Rika told him not to mind that, and said coincidentally, it would be the same amount as the reward for this request. Locke said that firstly, they have to break the curse now. Locke was ready for that, and started to chant the spell. Suddenly that same big dark eye appeared, and Locke was stunned to see the curse trying to affect him. He fought hard against the curse, chanting the spell loudly. Finally, the curse disappeared, and Lucky was glad, saying that he did it. Locke thanked him, and Titus said that it was awesome, informing him that it was the curse of the founder, making and having the break spell. Locke was confused and asked if he knew anything about the curse. Titus said that even he himself is not very knowledgeable about it, but has had a few people report similar situations. He told Locke that there was a rumor that the world back then was ruled by Majin summoning magic. Locke was confused to hear that a Majin was using summoning magic. And then Shannon thanked Locke, saying that she's looking forward to working with him. Locke was glad as it all turned out to be all right. Then Rika said that the only thing left is to not let Isaac, and the others beat him and told him to make sure to get all those materials. Locke gets ready and gets into his mini monster garden. Shannon was amazed to see those places and asked about it. Locke said that it's a mini garden, and they are all inside the bracelet. Shannon looked around and mentioned that she never knew that there's such a wonderful world inside a bracelet. Locke looked at her, seeing her blush. Shannon noticed and asked about it. Locke got nervous and mentioned that it's nothing. Then, Shannon saw a skybird, and Locke confirmed that it was the one he befriended earlier. Shannon asked if he knew that the skybirds are rare due to how they fly off the sky and they are very rarely seen. She said that it's just like Fenrir and commented that Locke is really a non-normal person. Locke was getting tired and mentioned that he wanted to eat. Locke was also hungry and decided to make food. Locke remembered that he told the orange ants for the animal meal and asked where they were. Lucky said that they built a dungeon in the basement. Locke was stunned to hear that. They went there and saw a big hole at the back. Locke was stunned and asked when they did that. Just then, the girl came out and welcomed him, calling him Papa. Shannon looked at him, asking about the humanoid form of the orange ants, and, moreover, Papa. Lucky said that Locke was into that kind of thing. Locke got mad and told him to shut up as he explained that it was just a coincidence as there were eggs hatched. Shannon made a face, saying that it's all right. She's good at keeping secrets. Locke was getting mad at Lucky for making that up. As they both were talking, saying that it's a huge misunderstanding, Shannon got mad and said that the two of them are having him, and it's unfair. She asked what Lucky was saying. Locke asked if she understood what he's saying, and she denied, but asked if she could hear what the orange ants could say. She agreed to that as Locke got stunned and asked just what does that mean. She also thinks that it's a person. Then, the orange ant said that it's because she doesn't know. She has the ability to talk to humans. She said that she's different from the rest of the ants and has a mission to lead her family. That's why she has the skills to negotiate with other races and command them. As they understood, the girl said that it's a skill called the interspecies language and asked if she tried copying it. Would she be able to use it? Locke was confused. Then the ant used her power, and it was done. Lucky asked if Shannon could understand him now. She confirmed that she understood it as Locke was stunned to see that. Shannon thanked the orange ant, and Locke realized that there is a lot in this world that he doesn't know. Then, the ant and Shannon started talking. Locke started thinking about the name, and the girl got excited hearing about it. She asked about it, and Locke asked Jai about it. He named her Patra. After hearing that, she got excited and was glad that she received a name. Then she asked to give them a name too. They went out, and Locke got nervous seeing them. They all liked the same, and then he thought about Orange and named them as Orange ABC and so on. The ants made a face, but suddenly they were glad to get that name. As Locke was confused and asked if they liked it. Seeing them, Locke said when he looked at them, it was surprising how much personality there is in them. He decided to give them names when they start to develop characteristically. Then he asked about the dungeon they built. Patra showed them the chilling room where they keep their meat and stuff, the dry room where they keep the fur dry, and the demon rock room, which they found while digging the hole, storing them all together. Locke found that amazing and said that he couldn't believe that they did it, commenting that Patra and others are very good. Then Locke said that they have the meat now and decided to cook. The scene shifted where Locke was in the market with Shannon. He was getting a knife, a grill frying pan, and pans. He said that he almost forgot that they don't have the cookware. Shannon asked why he was going to cook. He said that they don't have much time, so he's thinking of making fried chicken. Shannon asked about it, and Locke said that it's a very simple dish, and one just needs to season the meat and fry it. They are really great with cabbage. Shannon was excited to eat that. Then Locke went to a vegetable vendor and asked if he had cabbage, but the vendor denied, saying that it wasn't coming lately and won't be in stock for a while. Locke was disappointed as he really wanted to eat it with cabbage. Just then, someone came and asked if Locke was sure that he wanted to fool around that place. Locke turned around and saw that it was Isaac with Emmy and Kara. Isaac then said to him that if he kneels down to him, then he'll gladly put him back in his party. Just then, Shannon gets in front of Locke and asks Isaac about it. Isaac asked who she was. Locke told Shannon to just leave them alone and he has nothing to do with Isaac now. He asked him not to pester him anymore. Isaac grins at him, then strides towards Shannon and is about to punch her. Locke was able to stop that punch and asked what he thought he's doing. Isaac steps back and says that Hero knows what kind of under 100 tactics the guild is using, as he thought they'll pair him with a strong adventurer. But from the looks of it, he commented that she looks really like an E-class. Then he said that if he's working with that piece of garbage, then he wouldn't be able to use him properly. As Shannon gets mad and asks Isaac to take it back and screams, saying that Isaac is not an object and calls him crazy for such things, like to use him. Kara asked if the elf was really his new partner. Locke confirmed, saying that she is an E-class old adventurer. Kara gets close to her, looks at her, and then comments that she really had a lack of clothes. She advised Shannon that if she's going to party up with Locke, then being mindful of what she wears will be beneficial for her. Locke mentioned that it was none of his business, and stated that it's not like her strength would change because of what she wears. Kara got frustrated and mentioned that there's no way Locke would pick up an E-class adventurer. Locke clarified that it wasn't his choice, actually. Kara started to argue, and then Emmy came there and apologized for the rude things they both said to them and introduced her to them. She again bowed down in front of Locke, saying that it's not something they can be forgiven with an apology, but she apologized for everything she had done. As Locke said that he's been thinking a lot about it too, Emmy mentioned that she thought he was going to quit being an adventurer. But then she thought that he wanted to have a contest with her for one last time and gauge her power. After considering it, this is what she decided to do. Isaac left and wished them good luck. Then they left. Shannon was about to say something, but Locke mentioned that it was all right. He stated that they can't afford to lose now and asked to get back in the meantime. They started making food, and Locke got all covered by corn flour. Locke told him not to play with corn flour. Locke said that he wasn't playing, he just thought that he needed help. Finally, the food was ready. Locke presented his deluxe edition of fried chicken. They were thankful for the food and ate it, amazed to eat such delicious food. They praised him, saying that it's delicious. He thanked them, telling them to eat it slowly as it's hot. He asked Shannon to take a bite, and she ate it and said that it's delicious. They all enjoyed the food. After that, Locke said that he'll tell them what they are eating. He said that they are going to do. He said that their destination this time will be the Fresh Verdier dungeon. It's located in a place where it takes 2 to 3 days of carriage one way. Normally this request would take about a week to complete, but he said that there is a forest, a storm, and a lot of places where it's hard to go. If they travel in a straight line, they can get there in less than half a day. He said that judging by the weight of Isaac and the others' baggage, he'd expect them to take the usual route. Unless they get into some kind of trouble in the woods, he doesn't see how they can lose. Even if they are following the shortest route, he thinks that it wouldn't be as smooth as they think. They finished filling up their bellies and decided to depart. Shannon and Locke were on Lucky's back, and they strode towards the dungeon. Locke noticed that the monster wasn't attacking, which was expected of a Fenrir. Just then, they heard a voice and asked, "Was that a crying voice?" Shannon said that maybe someone was being attacked by a monster. Locke asked Lucky if he could go back for a second. They then followed the cry and were stunned to hear it. Locke was surprised to see that a monster was crying. Locke asked what that guy's is, and if that's a stone statue. Then he realized that it's a gargoyle. As the monster looked at them, he got scared, screamed, and attacked them with wind magic. Fenrir said that he surely got some nerve to challenge him with wind magic, and then Fenrir casted his magic. Locke was amazed to see such power in Lucky as he wasn't stopping and kept on collecting the magic power. Locke got nervous, saying that it's too much. There's also a royal capital in front of that direction, and if he casts a spell that is powerful, the city's not going to let them get away with it. Lucky understood and apologized to him, but said that he can't stop that anymore. Just then, Locke got in front of that attack and cast a shield spell. Fenrir released his magic. Locke was struggling as he strategized that if he can concentrate that in one point, then they can at least distribute that. It was working, but he was struggling very hard. He screamed and wished that his magic power withstands that. After all, he was able to defend that attack. Lucky was scared and peeked at Locke, who was pissed because of him. Then Shannon asked if he's all right. He confirmed and asked if she'd be okay, as they weren't hurt. Then Shannon told Locke about his hand bleeding. Locke looked at it, and then he took the healing potion, and his hand quickly got healed. Shannon was amazed to see that and said that it's an amazing potion. Then Lucky apologized to Locke for messing it up as he was scared. But then Locke just hugged him and thanked him, saying that he was just trying to help, and said that he really appreciated that. But said that the burst magic power is a disastrous type, and from now on, he told him to learn how to control that power. Locke was in tears and howled, saying that he'll do his best. Then he looked at that monster who was scared. As Locke asked the gargoyle not to cry and questioned why he was crying in that kind of place, he replied that it's because he's sad. He explained that he was fired from the Demon Lord army. It was new to Locke hearing that monsters can get fired too. The gargoyle said that he was apparently made out of leftover materials, and his magic is also weak. So he was placed in the castle and has been cleaning for 100 years. He mentioned that recently, the army leader had been changed, and they told him that they don't need monsters that can't do anything besides cleaning. He said that he was wandering through the woods as a kid and reached a village not far from there. But they suddenly attacked him, so he ran away. Locke said that a lot of people don't think of demons very well. The gargoyle said that it's his first time that he met people, and the fact that he's unfinished, and the fact that people hate him makes him feel really sad. He wondered what he was born for. Locke wondered that he had heard that gargoyles are the elite troops of the Demon Lord's army, and that it took a lot of magic power to make one. So, Locke asked him what he was planning to do now. The gargoyle was hopeless, asking what he should do. He started to cry again. Seeing him cry, Locke asked if he wanted to come with them. The gargoyle asked if that's all right, even though he is just weak and a cleaning gargoyle. Locke said strength doesn't have anything to do with it. And besides, he has been cleaning for a while, hundreds of years, considering it really amazing. The gargoyle was glad and thanked him, asking him to let him join them. Then, Locke heard the same voice in his head that a gargoyle seal wanted to befriend him and would like to accept it. Locke was confused and asked him if there was some kind of sealed power within him. The gargoyle said he heard that the previous Demon Lord was the one who created him, but he's not really knowledgeable about that. As Locke accepted to befriend him, he was notified that a gargoyle seal was there. The gargoyle seal was turned into a sacred beast and became his friend. He transferred the sacred beast to the garden, and with the increase in the power of the holy beast, he could now expand the garden and choose from different options. He selected to expand the cabin, and finally the expansion was complete. The gargoyle told Locke that there was a village a bit far away. Then he noticed some plants and saw that it was cabbage. He asked how there could be a cabbage patch in the middle of nowhere. He noticed that Lucky was asleep and realized that it was night, deciding to rest there. The scene shifted to the next day, where they went to the village which the gargoyle was talking about. As they reached it, it was the Chusano village. They went in and saw a man sleeping. They called him, but he wasn't listening. Shannon got close and shook him, asking him to wake up. The old man woke up, saw Shannon in front of him, and called her an angel. He said that it's about time that an angel kicked him up, and then he was about to kiss her. Just then, Fenrir placed his paw over him, and he fell down. The old man was fully awake, saw Locke and others, and asked who they were. Locke said that they were adventurers on their way to the cave up ahead, and then they heard about the village. The old man heard that and said that they were just in time, telling them to go and see the village chief and ask him for advice. As Locke wondered about the advice, they went from the village and observed the villagers. He noticed there were a lot of skinny people, and he was sure that there was never a famine in that region. The village chief, introduced as Onagami, greeted them. Onagami said he's glad they came and mentioned to the person who brought them there that it seems he woke up properly this time. The person replied that if they are skilled, he'll recognize them even if he was asleep. They started arguing, and Locke asked about the advice. Onagami apologized and explained that about a year ago, goblins started leaving for the Green Garden Swamp, and their fields haven't been doing well. The goblins raided their village, took away what little food they had, and when a group of young men tried to retaliate, the goblins got them in return. Onagami asked if they could use their help. Locke thought about it and said that goblins have more wisdom than other monsters, and once their numbers increase, they become a nasty bunch. Onagami mentioned they requested help from the state and the guild, but they couldn't pay a decent request fee, so no one took their requests. Locke realized that he can't help them just out of goodwill if he wants to make a living as an adventurer. Besides, even if they save them, There's a chance they might ask for help again, and they need to be able to live on their own. For the meantime, Locke asked to take a look at the map of the area where the goblins were. He showed him the map, and by looking at it, Locke said they might be able to handle the goblins. He mentioned they saw a cabbage patch on their way, and suggested that they can survive hunger for now. Onigami thanked him, but Locke said that if they don't do anything, they'll end up repeating the process over and over again. To prevent that from happening, he offered to help develop the village and asked if, in the future, when the village is profitable, they could give him 20% of the revenue. Onigami was nervous, saying it's not an amount he can decide on by himself. Locke proposed that if all the villagers cooperate with that demand, he'll settle for 10%. He said that it can be from any sales, minus the cost of everything and their labor. Locke said that besides, even if the villagers help them, they will help to thin out the goblins and provide food. As the villagers started to discuss, we got to know that the fundamental problem in that village is that it's blocking traffic from the rest of the city. The fields were not well maintained, and they have no space to live. Locke said that the villagers have no special products, so they get foreign currency and are not getting what they need. Locke wonders if he can help them for free, but it won't do the villagers any good, as the villagers also need the resolve to do so. As Onigami said that they understood and asked him to let him consult the other villagers, Shannon asked what was going to happen. Locke said that the village should benefit greatly, and he can't imagine them saying no, but said that he's going to do a little preparation in the garden, and asked Shannon to let him know what the village chief calls him. As then Onigami was ready, their opinions were clear. Their opinions were really divided, but with that in mind, they didn't think that they could make things better. They asked if Locke was okay with all the compensation being contingencies. Locke agreed, stating that if they wished to cooperate with them, they could deal with the goblins and their food provision, assuring the villagers wouldn't be in any danger. As they started mumbling, expressing that it wouldn't be a problem, a person said that he would believe him. An injured person spoke up, stating that he didn't think it's such a good idea, and no matter how they look at it, he asked, "Isn't that suspicious?" Onigami was angry and called him Warren, asking how dare he say that. Warren replied that if he wasn't injured, he could deal with the goblins quickly. As Locke saw the villagers injured by the goblins, he took out the healing potion and gave it to Warren, asking him to take it. He mentioned that it is his unique arrangement, and it's a healing potion. Warren got mad and said that he doesn't care about that, as if he'd drink that. Locke told him not to think like that, and said that if he wants proof, then he won't mind letting Shannon drink that. He then asked her to drink it, and she took it and gulped it. She was amazed as it was delicious, and she said that she also feels like his body is getting lighter. Locke gets excited and says that he wants to drink that. Locke gave it to Locke to taste, and it was very delicious. Locke said that he didn't know what it was, but he felt very refreshed. Then he gave it to Warren to try it out. Warren took it, saying that it might be just acting, and he gulped that potion. The moment he drank it, he found it very delicious. He said that it's not like the usual dank rotten water potion. It doesn't smell at all, and rather than that, it's like freshly squeezed apple juice. He explained that it tastes like his first love, making it really easy to drink. Just then, he felt very light, and he saw that he was all well. He was able to move easily, and the pain in his body also went away. He could move his head and said that it's kind of a miracle. Lang mentioned that they are currently working on a different request, and added that if they lend their help, he'll also provide healing potions for the other injured people. Warren expressed that they would love to have him treat everyone's injuries. He apologized for doubting him, and then introduced himself, stating that he's working as an assistant to the village chief. He mentioned that they will happily cooperate with him. Onigami asked if there was anyone against it, and as no one raised their voice, Onigami then finalized the deal. Locke said to have something to eat first, and 6 days were left until the guild's request deadline. As the scene shifted, they had prepared food for the villagers. They were all glad to eat the cabbage soup, finding it delicious. They never thought that cabbage could be their favorite. They thought that cabbage was that good, and used to think that it was only good for horse feed. Locke had also poured a little bit of the recovery potion that he made into the dish, and it seemed that the people who were unwell seemed to be healthier. Locke calls Shannon and asks if she can help him with something. As she arrives, Locke asks her to take a long orange Anson bee with her and protect them and the villagers as they leave to collect materials. Shannon is nervous and says that he is leaving such an important task to her. She asks if he is sure that it's going to be okay. He replies that she should be able to handle the monsters in this area without much trouble, and besides, orange ants and bees may be small, but they can take care of themselves. Shannon says that she understands and will do her best. Then Locke says that the rest of them are going to make a road that will lead straight to Krontel. If they have a road, depending on the travelers who come and go between both towns, they might be able to solve the problem of conserving resources and the lack of imported goods in one fell swoop. But before that, he casts a spell, and everyone is surprised and asks what is happening. Their bodies feel lighter. Locke mentions that he casts strengthening magic on them to help them move around easily, but it'll last a while though. The villagers are able to move very freely, and they even start performing stunts. Locke asks them not to take too rough on themselves. Shannon remarks that it is expected of him to be able to cast strengthening magic on so many people at once. Locke mentions that if she practices, then he's sure that she can do it as well, and mentions that he'll teach her how to do it next time. Shannon thanks him, and then they get ready to build the road. All the villagers and Locke's friend Demon start to help him build the road, and they work until night. Then Locke asks them to stop there for now. As he says, they are almost done with the stone pavement and cleaning the road. At that rate, they might be able to finish the road by tomorrow. He considers that it's thanks to Lucky's magic that they can build the road itself. Then the scene shifts to the mini monster garden as Locke is looking at the map. Shannon asks, "Isn't he asleep?" Locke replies that he is planning what they have to do. They have to do it tomorrow and suggests that she can get some sleep first. He says that he's sure that she worked much harder than the others and she should get some rest. Shannon denies it, asking how she can rest while her master continues to work. Locke refuses her to call him a master, saying that he does not consider her his slave at all. Hearing that, Shannon comments that he's a very kind person and says that she is very glad to meet him. After some time, for the time being, Locke says that they'll have the villagers collect the cabbage tomorrow, and then they'll think about selling some items at the capital the day after tomorrow. He says that it seems that there's a shortage of cabbages in the capital, and he's sure that all cabbages will be sold off rather quickly. Also, he mentions that it's not like he has forgotten about the quest that the guild had given, and wonders if he's sure that they will win. But how they win is also important. Then, Shannon gets on the table and falls asleep, saying that Locke is amazing. As she is in a deep sleep, Locke casts his clean spell and cleans her. He thanks her for today. At the mini monster garden, he turns around and sees Lucky sitting there. He asks him if he is still awake. Lucky nods and inquires about what they are catching that day. Locke replies that it will be the rainbow dragonflies, as it is easier to catch them at night. Lucky asks him about the goblins. He replies that as long as Lucky is there in the village, the goblins will not attack. Even if they were to leave, there would be adventurers who would come and subjugate them. Lucky seems confused for a bit, and then nods in agreement. At the very next moment, Lucky asks Locke to begin with the task, and he nods to it. In the next scene, they are seen catching the flies using their respective nets. It is morning already, and as Locke wakes up, he hears a clang downstairs. He then contemplates that it must be Shannon. As he walks down the staircase, he ponders that she always wakes up early every morning to prepare breakfast for them, and somehow it makes him happy. As he reaches the kitchen, he extends his thanks to Shannon and asks her if she needs any help. Suddenly, he sees the gargoyle there, wearing an apron. He greets Locke and states that the food is almost ready, and it is just a matter of a couple of minutes. Locke is completely stunned and screams out that it is not her, and it is not right too. He then clarifies that he does not mean it that way. The gargoyle inquires about what is wrong and if he had a nightmare. Locke flusters, stating that it is fine, and asks him if he could help with anything. The goblin asks to leave everything to him, as back when he worked at the Demon Lord's castle, he was often tasked to prepare everyone's meals by himself. Locke replies that it is great. Just then, Shannon arrives, greets him, and apologizes for falling asleep the previous night. Locke asks her not to worry about it, and if she is going out to train, as she replies positively and discloses that she is going to prepare breakfast. But the gargoyle tells her to leave the breakfast to her. Locke is not that pleased and ponders that he is grateful, but something feels off about that. Shannon then asks him if he is not tired, as last night he went out to catch some rainbow dragonflies by himself. He is astonished to hear that and asks if she is not asleep, clarifying that he was with Lucky when they went to catch those dragonflies. Shannon is annoyed and screams out that it's not that, and she wants to be useful to him. He thanks her for that and suggests she go for the next time. She asks for a promise and Locke agrees. Just then, the gargoyle notifies that the breakfast is ready, making both happy. It is the second day in the afternoon, and the carriage rider is clarifying that they will sell cabbages in the market, and then deliver the rainbow dragonfly's wings to the guild. Locke agrees to it and advises him to take care out there. As the carriage moved away, he pondered that since they were able to clean the road by afternoon that day, he supposed that there was enough time to sell some of the goods at the market. He further contemplated that he would teach them how to catch more of those rainbow dragonflies later. As if they plow the deserted farmland and use it to grow cabbages, it could be used to solve the problems regarding the food supply. It was nighttime, and the road was complete. Everyone was joyful and was screaming out that they did it. Locke approached the ants and praised them for their good job, as they did an excellent job by setting the stone pavements, such that they would put some of the craftsmen to shame. The ants were happy as their papa praised them. Unbeknownst to them, a villager approached them and extended her thanks to the ants, and disclosed that she thought that all monsters were scary, but Patra was such a good girl. The village chief extended his thanks to Locke and stated that he had never thought that the capital would be completed in just 2 days. He further stated that Locke did so much for them and inquired if it was okay for him to just receive 10% of their profits. Locke stated that it was okay and requested him to send the funds through the guild for him. The chief thanked him again and assured him that every payment would be punctually settled. Afterwards, right before dawn, they split themselves and retrieved the ogre's egg, as well as the green emerald that the green frogs possess. He further stated that they were not able to find any wyverns, but they can worry more about that the next day. Locke contemplated that it was just it, but right then he got a feeling that Isaac's party would arrive at their destination earlier than predicted, and the problem that would entail. The scenes open at the mini monster garden. Locke was stretching and getting ready. He commanded everyone to do their best that day as well. Suddenly, a bird arrived out of nowhere and sat on his shoulders. He patted it, called it a friendly bird, and inquired since when there was a chick in the mini garden. The ant reached him and clarified that the chick was a sky bird. He was stunned. He then asked her if the sky bird was not a lot bigger than that. She disclosed that when they were sorting the monster's materials, they found something that looked like a rare item, and when the sky bird somehow ate it, it turned like that. He expressed concern, stating that if something like that happened, they must find a way to turn him back. The sky bird was happy hearing that. Just then, he exclaimed that it was fine. The sky bird was completely blanked. Locke stated that it would turn back to normal eventually. Locke covered his nose and wondered what that smell was about. As he turned, he saw that it was from Lucky. Lucky said that if he did, he could not really tell. Locke asked him when the last time was he took a bath. Locke turned away and stated that it might be yesterday. He just asked him if he was with him all day the last day, and he did not see him taking a bath. Lucky further declared that then it might have been the day before the last day. Lucky screamed out that he was fine, and even if he did not take a bath, he properly licked himself clean. Locke sighed and stated that it could not be helped. He then called out to everyone as they would now commence the capture and bath of Lucky operation. Everyone understood the assignment and agreed to it. Lucky smirked and commented to them that they should not think that they could catch him that easily. Locke then chanted, and it was shining everywhere. He explained that he had cast support magic on everyone, except Lucky. He further disclosed that it would only last for a short time, but their strength and speed should have increased. Everyone thanked him. At the very next moment, there was a sudden calmness in the environment, as Lucky roared and exclaimed to them that they should not think that the difference between them and him could be made up by something like support magic. Patra called herself out and stated that she would start. It was a battle between the legendary Fenrir Lucky versus the Orange Ant Queen Patra. The battle began, and she dashed towards him, seeing her. Lucky stated to her that she was naive to think that she could catch him alone. Patra breathed in and spitted out a web-like material. It caught Lucky off guard, however. He was able to dodge it with ease. He smirked and exclaimed that he already told her that her alone attack would not get him. Just then, she called out for everyone, and everyone jumped towards Lucky, and he identified that it was an ambush. All the orange ants together spitted out the web and attacked to capture his legs. They all pulled it at once, and at the very next moment, Lucky was on the floor. Ants were happy and exclaimed to Locke that they did it. Locke patted her and exclaimed that it was great, making him drop his guard down by pretending to be alone. She chuckled when he was instructing Lucky to behave. The scenes changed, and Lucky was on his feet, having managed to bind all the ants in their own nets. Lucky then smirked and stated that they did well to stop his movements, but they do not have enough magic power to hold him down. The result was that the ants had lost the battle and were calling out that Lucky was so strong. A while later, the gargoyle introduced himself and commented that he would be the next one to challenge him. It was time for the next match, a battle between the proud sacred beast Lucky versus the former member of the Demon Lord's elite unit Gargoyle. Lucky asked him if he really thought that he could win. Gargoyle stated that he was being underestimated, and even if he might be a weak one, he was still a gargoyle. He further stated that he had the knowledge he collected after living 100 years and the power of Locke's support magic. He raised his hand and warned him of his attack. The next scene clarified that Gargoyle had been slapped and had lost the battle instantly. Locke was completely stunned by it. Lucky then inquired about who was next. Shannon called herself out and asked if he would allow her to spar with him. It was time for the battle of Not a Dog Fenrir versus the elf who was blessed by the master, that is Shannon. It seemed interesting to Lucky, and he asked her to come at him with her all. She understood it and warned him that she was coming. She rushed at him with a swing at him with her sword. He dodged the attack and exclaimed that at that rate she would not even graze him. She was not pleased at it and started attacking him with continuous strikes of her sword. Lucky was impressed, but at the same time was dodging the attacks with ease. He exclaimed that she was not bad, but she would not hit him with a sloppy attack like that. She agreed to it. She kept attacking him, and Lucky was stunned and wondered if her accuracy suddenly increased. It was a bang, as Lucky was ambushed by his surroundings, and he wondered when she did that. She pointed her sword at him and asked Lucky to be a good boy and get in the bath. She was stunned the next moment. The tail with a pointing sharp end was at the neck of Shannon. Lucky expressed that if she moved, she would lose her head. Shannon sighed, and after a pause expressed that it was no use. She surrendered. The result was that she lost. Lucky exclaimed to her that those were some pretty good moves, and it seemed that her daily training was paying off. She was pleased and extended her thanks to him. Locke then expressed that it was time for the main course, a battle between the dog that just wanted to play Lucky versus the guy that really wanted Lucky to take a bath. Lucky was staring at him with demonic eyes, stating that the warm-up was over, and asked him to come at him with full strength. Locke took out his knives and went on his guard. The very next moment, Lucky sniffed something and wondered what that sweet smell was. On a closer look, it was the sky bird holding a flower in its beak. Lucky was feeling dizzy, and a short while later, he was completely asleep. Locke was stunned and later identified that it was a sleeping flower. He then thanked the sky bird for that. He further asked everyone to wash Lucky together. Everyone agreed. The scenes changed, and it was the same day near the New Leaf dungeon, and the carriage was on the way. Isaac was annoyed and asked if they were not there yet. Kara asked him to be quiet, and Emmy took a pause. Isaac then cursed Locke and stated that he would make him regret betraying them. Emmy clarified that they were the ones who betrayed him first. Hearing this, Isaac asked her to shut up. He then contemplated who cares about that luggage carrier as he fought on the front lines and won to rise up to S rank. But he could not believe that someone called them at best C-rank adventurers. He clenched his fist and stated that he would not accept it, no matter what. He was annoyed as hell and exclaimed that he would win and prove it to everyone. Kara sighed and further declared that she was just saying, but she would not help collect the oregano eggs. Emmy apologized and expressed that the dragonflies were little. She was then interrupted by Isaac that he already knew it. Emmy further stated that they did not need to collect everything for the request this time, and wyverns were the main goal anyway, so it was fine. Kara then exclaimed that he had been wondering for a while then, but why was he so full of himself? Isaac sighed and clarified that he did not want to hear that from her. She further quarreled with him, stating that he accepts requests without even confirming the details, and then adds them to the party without discussing things. He was the worst. She further stated that he just knew that she and Emmy were helping him because they had no choice at that time, but they were leaving the party after it was over. Isaac stated to them to do whatever they want, and in exchange, he would be giving orders while they were on that request. They had reached the destination, and the driver informed him about the same. He extended his thanks to him and handed him the money, instructing to keep the change. The man turned at him with a pale face and told him that was not enough, and clarified that he brought him way too close to the dungeon than he usually took people. He further stated that if he did not pay him more, it would not be worth his time. Hearing this, he banged coins at his carriage and asked him if that much should be fine. The driver thanked him and went away. Isaac was pissed and exclaimed that everyone was making a fool out of him. He then switched his attention to the new Leaf Dungeon, and 4 days were left until the request's due date. They were all ready to get in. The scene switched to elsewhere, at the same moment where Lucky had been washed up, and everyone was petting Lucky. It was the new Leaf Dungeon, and Isaac clarified that they were only going for the wyverns deep inside the dungeon. They all walked inside, carrying their respective weapons. Soon, they encountered a demon, and Isaac stated that they would collect the other items on the way back if they had time. Kara was scared, and Emmy took a pause. Isaac asked for a response at least. As they walked, he felt that something was kind of weird, as the rainbow dragonflies and green frogs were nowhere to be seen. He further stated that there were oranges, but he could not find their eggs, and wondered how on earth they were supposed to collect the items needed for the contest. He contemplated that the guild might be trying their best to set them up, putting up requirements without knowing the current situations. If that was the case, then the guild was clearly at fault, and he would pursue that problem when they returned. Just then, he heard a rustling sound, and a goblin rushed at him out of nowhere to attack with its weapon. Isaac sliced it in two instantly. He got annoyed and stated that the guild personnel were too irresponsible for not informing them about the presence of goblins. He was stunned as he saw the goblin knight standing there, holding a big sword and surrounded by fellow goblins. Isaac went on guard immediately, stating that even the high-leveled ones had appeared, and inquired if that place had totally become their nest. They were surrounded by goblins. Isaac rushed at the goblin knight, screaming for them to go to hell. However, his attack was easily dodged by the goblin knight. He was astonished. The goblin knight then turned and attacked him with all its might, but Isaac managed to block the attack. As he struggled against the knight, he remembered being told that without Locke's divine protection, they were just C-ranked. He pondered that there was no way he could lose to that small fry. Suddenly, the goblin knight was attacked with a fire spear from behind, and Isaac was astonished. The knight was burning on the ground, and Emi asked if he was okay. Isaac was not pleased and clarified that he was okay, and he could have defeated that small fry by himself. Kara mocked him, stating that yet he seemed to be having a relatively tough battle. He smirked in response. The battle was not over yet, as they were still surrounded by the fellow goblins. Emi asked him to put that aside so they could focus on the goblins. The scene changed, and every goblin was on the floor. Isaac inquired if it was over and stated that it looked like the goblin knight was the boss, so it should be okay. He turned back and instructed them to go on, as they had to defeat the wyverns and return to the guild. They both nodded in agreement. A cliff was there, loaded with lots of dragons, and they were roaring. They hid behind the bushes, and Isaac stated that there were quite a lot of them. He then moved to them for the plan, expressing to Emi that he would charge in and draw their attention, while she used magic to pierce the wings of the wyverns, and he would finish them off when they fell down. He instructed them to firstly aim for those wyverns which were further away from the group. Emi nodded in agreement. Isaac grabbed his sword and rushed towards the wyverns. He tried to slash them with his sword, but they dodged the attack with ease. Isaac asked Emi for her attack. She raised her weapon, chanted a spell, and attacked them with a fire arrow. It was a direct hit, taking both of them down to the ground. Isaac went on guard and rushed to slash them with his sword. The demons were down, and he asked them to move to the next one. As he turned back, he saw a wyvern flapping its wings, and then he wondered if there was one more. It attacked both of them with its tail, and the next moment, both of them were on the ground. Isaac dashed towards them, asking if they were okay. Kara was pissed off, and exclaimed to him that he should look out for them on the sidelines as Locke was able to protect them properly. Isaac was astonished at that statement. He exclaimed that it had nothing to do with Locke, and besides, he did not know there was another wyvern. He further taunted her, stating that even though she was an escort, she should be able to defend herself. She was stunned, calling it ridiculous. She then grabbed Emi's hand and instructed her to go, as they would die if they stayed with that idiot. Emi was in disbelief. Isaac asked them not to go. Kara mocked him, calling him an idiot, and clarified to him that she could not tag along with him anymore. His eyes widened as he saw them going away. He clenched his fist in anger and thought that those guys had abandoned him too. Past memories started rolling in his mind, where a man stated that Locke was really brilliant, and compared to him, Isaac was not that good. He further asked Isaac to learn from Locke, and he was disappointed in him. Isaac was pissed that everyone was calling out for him everywhere. Just then, he saw that he was surrounded by the wyverns. He smirked at that situation and stated that if that was the case, then he would make them all fail the quest. He then pierced the ground with his sword and was completely enraged in anger, screaming out that he would not let Locke win. Kara and Emi turned back, and Emi exclaimed that it was bad. He called out the attack as Grand Cross. The attack was too shiny, reaching up to the skies, forming a cross. It was so large that it could be seen by Locke standing in the village. Seeing that, Locke identified that it was Isaac and others. He then asked Shannon to accompany him. She agreed. He then instructed that aside from Shannon, everyone else should continue with their work in the village. They all agreed to it. He then called out that he was counting on Lucky, and Lucky nodded to it. As soon as all three of them reached the dungeon, it was all smoke out there. Locke clarified that the smoke was immense. A shadow appeared there, and some people were coming out of the dungeon, coughing. It was Isaac, Emi, and Kara. Isaac called out that it serves right for him, as all the wyverns and materials have turned to dust. Shannon clarified that they would not be able to complete the quest. Locke smirked and stated that he had never thought that Isaac would do something like that. Just then, Shannon exclaimed to him that if that was the case, then they should return to the royal capital to buy the material and deliver them to the guild. She further said that it might be a bit unfair, but it was important not to lose, and she had seen those materials on sale outside the town. Locke replied negatively, as there might be some wyverns left, so they should investigate it first. Isaac chuckled and instructed him to go ahead and search as much as he wanted. He added that they would be heading back first, and he would be looking forward to the next time they meet. In the next scene, Locke, along with his party, was inside the dungeon. It was all smoke there, pointing to a corpse. He shockingly identified it as a goblin knight. He further stated that it must be the boss of the group, and with that, the village was safe. Locke understood his intention. However, Shannon was still in confusion. After a thoughtful examination, Locke stated that all of it really disintegrated into dust. He further claimed that Isaac was probably more suited to be a magic user. Shannon then looked at the remains and stated that it was all destroyed, and the scales and claws were all tattered and could not be delivered to the guild. Locke stated that it could not be helped and instructed them to head back. On the other side, Lucky was joyful, screaming out that there it was. There were huge eggs. Locke reached there and identified them as the wyvern's eggs, and further stated that they were behind the rocks, so they remained unharmed. Locke inquired if they were yummy. He replied that they probably might be, and instructed them to move all of them to the mini-garden. A short while later, as they reached the village, they were welcomed by the villagers who were asking him if he had defeated the goblins. Shannon then asked him if they should not take care of the goblins and the swamp of the New Leaf as well. He exclaimed that it was fine, and further added to it that the map was a bit old and the name had changed, but the swamp was the same place as the dungeon. Shannon understood it. A short while later, he exclaimed that while waiting for Isaac and the others to deliver the materials to the guild, he helped with the development of the village until the next day, and it was finally the day of departure. Locke was stunned to view the fortress and asked if it was the gate of the village. Patra disclosed that with that, it would be fine if monsters decided to attack. Locke agreed to it. The village chief called up for Locke, and as he turned around, everyone bent down and expressed their thanks to him. She further stated that from then on, they would follow what he had taught them and further develop their village. On the other hand, someone was patting Patra and extended her thanks to her. Just then, a man screamed out that then it makes the cabbages their specialty, and they are going to change the name of the village to Chelsino Cabbage Village. They then waved their hands and pleaded for them to come again. Locke pondered that all that left was the settlement of Isaac's party, and hence they were heading towards the royal capital, Kronto. The scene shifted to the royal capital, Kronto. It was noisy, and Locke clarified that it should be around there. Just then, he was called up by Warren to look over there. He approached him and asked about the sale. Warren replied that it was just like he expected, as the cabbages were selling like hotcakes. He further stated that it was probably because they changed cabbage soup to cabbage rolls every other day, and those guys bought their specialty at their requested price. He took out a pouch and presented him his share, extending his thanks to them as he was earning a lot. Locke thanked him and commented that it was good to hear, asking him to buy a demon cow with the remaining money to help in the development of the village. Warren replied positively, clarifying that they owed everything they had that day to him, and thanked him again. Locke moved forward. contemplating that as the preparation was complete, all that was left was the settlement. Just then, he reached the Adventurers Guild where Isaac's party was waiting for him. Isaac mocked him, stating that he was quite late. As Locke arrived, he saw that the receptionist's table was loaded with the material of the request. Isaac further stated that he thought Locke ran away because he couldn't get the materials required for the competition. He stated that he would never do that. Isaac then smirked and asked him if he came there empty-handed just to lose. Locke asked him to put all that aside and submit the materials already. The receptionist interfered and disclosed that she would then check the materials they delivered. As she stated that, Isaac asked Locke to kneel down and apologize. As all this continued between them, the receptionist stated that, as the gorilla party had delivered 20 pairs of rainbow dragonfly wings, 3 orango eggs, and 15 emeralds are acquired from fresh verdure. The victory of this match goes to Locke. Isaac is astonished to hear that. He then turns and asks her what that is all about. The receptionist further clarifies that Locke delivers 30 scales, 10 claws, 60 wings, 9 wyvern eggs, and an additional 45 emeralds beforehand. Isaac verifies if she stated beforehand, as it is impossible, as Locke reaches the dungeon after them. He then grabs Locke's collar and comments that he and the guild members used some dirty tricks. Locke pushes him and clarifies that he did not do that. He further asks him before going on and on about being unfair, why he does not get the materials himself instead of buying them from the stores. Isaac asks him what he is talking about as he defeats the monster. Locke approaches the table and asks him if that is so, raising a feather. Just then, he asks Isaac why the materials have the Qiaoshino mark on them. He then discloses to him that from the looks of it when he bumps into him at the entry of the dungeon, he predicts that Isaac cannot attain the materials, and just then, Shannon says all those things in front of him. He further adds that he thinks Isaac does not have all the materials and would win by buying the entire supply of them in the royal capital. However, they have a bunch of the materials at that time. The store owner just sells a part of his stock at a high price, and if Isaac is not so greedy, he would not have wasted so much money. Hearing this, Isaac gets pissed and asks him how he reaches the dungeon before them. Locke asks him if he looks at the map carefully, explaining it. He states that there is a faster but more dangerous route, and if he goes in a straight line from the royal capital Kronto to the Fresh Verdure dungeon. Kara clarifies that he knows about it. Isaac annoyingly asks him why she has not said something. Kara asks him why they should purposely go across the dangerous forest. Isaac asks her what she is talking about, as that is the match for them to continue to be S-rank adventurers. He further asks her if she does not want to beat him. Kara clarifies that he is the only one who wants to win. Isaac gets stunned as he sees their party faces. Locke thanks Isaac for defeating the goblins, as it really helped since the people of Ciacino village are worried about it. But they do not have the money to pay the guild or the country to get rid of them. He then turns to the receptionist and states that the guild probably chooses the request partly because they want to help them. She smiles at that. He then tells them that on the first day of arriving in the village, he had Shannon collect the wyvern's claws and scales for her. He also assumes that those guys would defeat the goblins for him as well. Isaac gets pissed as he uses him. The very next moment, he rushes at Locke to attack him, but he is stopped at an instance by the guildmaster, Titus. Titus states that the kid has confessed everything, including the collusion with Isaac, and then he asks to end that. Isaac gets disappointed and goes on his knees. He lowers his head and apologizes to him, and it is just like that the matter gets settled. After that, Isaac and the others are interrogated before being handed their punishments. Emmy and Kara abandon their treatment, but it is because they are being chased by a Fenrir, and their lives are in danger, so they are downgraded to rank C. Now then, the S-ranked party is dismissed. Kara and Emmy want to form a party with Locke again, but he politely declines their offer. Later, they believe each other and form a party again. Kid is sentenced to prison, and the investigation on his past crimes begins, and rates might still increase. Isaac avoids being turned into a slave, but is forced to work in a mine for half a year, and if he wants to be an adventurer later, he has to start from rank E. The scene switches where Locke is sitting under a tree, along with Lucky. Lucky asks him what he is thinking about. He replies that it is nothing, just about his childhood friends. He is sad. He tells him that they grow up together, and yet they do not know anything about each other, and things that happen to his childhood friends, it would be harder to get along with his familiars. He stands up, stating that he should accept his failures, and then confidently says to believe in his friends from then on. Also, he will be using his power for the sake of his friend. He then says to Lucky that he will be under his care. They both tap their hands, and Lucky asks him to just leave it to him. It is like just that, they settle one problem. However, he is still ignorant that in the future, he will be involved in a matter, and it concerns the royal capital. The scene shifts where the adventurers are facing the ogres. It is a huge monster, and the adventurers are wondering why there are ogres in the royal capital. One of the ogres attacks the adventurers with his fist. They all fall on the ground injured and conclude that it is bad. If it continues, the ogres will destroy the royal capital. Someone asks them to hold them until the knights arrive. The adventurer gets pissed and concludes that if they come, they will only snatch their achievements. Just then, an ogre gets behind the monsters and is about to attack fiercely. His attack is blocked luckily as he grabs his hand. Adventurers are stunned to see Locke. He apologizes and states that his other errands held him up. The adventurer tells him that they will leave it to them and advises him to work hard to make up for his delay. He agrees to it and asks them to leave it to him. Others call out, exclaiming that he is there, so it is the time to counterattack. Ogres attack him, and Locke is found off guard. Just then, an attack raises there, which is a flame spear, a direct attack. It pierces the chest of the ogre. It is Emmy, and she advises Locke to not lower down his guard. He thanks her for it. He then asks Patra to take over the command. She asks him to leave it to her. Patra discloses that the teams are A, B, C, and D team he is with the gargoyle. She further adds that Shannon will fight alongside her. Just then, it is sparkling all around. Locke states that he applies auxiliary magic to improve their base power. They all thank him for that. The very next moment, everyone is on their guard. Someone attacks the ogres. Someone stabs it. Another one slashes the ogres. Lucky also plays his role. By taking down one of the ogres, Locke exclaims that it is boring and he cannot even call it a warm-up. Locke asks him not to say that, as it is only because Lucky is too strong. It looks like Patra is managing well as she is able to work with adventurers while fighting against the ogres. Also, she and Shannon make a good team, as expected of an ant queen. In another scene, one of the orange ants has bound to the ogre's legs, waiting for the gargoyle to attack. Gargoyle uses his wind bullet magic, but it is a failure. He is stunned and shocked at the same time. Watching that, Locke concludes that his power is still sealed, and it seems that he cannot unseal it by himself. He then asks Lucky to go over there and support Gargoyle. The battle is concluded, and every ogre is on the ground. Locke exclaims that it is the last one. Locke wonders that it is rare for the ogres to show up in the royal capital. To have 10 of them attack at once is unheard of. He thinks of what is happening. Amy uses healing magic over the injured. They all thank her, calling her a saintess, and she smiles at it. She then asks if they are really grateful. How about buying her new clothes? Also, she remembers those who received her healing magic. Locke wonders if she will ever change. Just then, the Imperial Knights arrive there. They are riding on horses and are fully armored. It is Marcus, the captain of the Imperial Knights. He thanks the adventurers for their cooperation in that ogre exploration. Locke wonders what is about that exploration. Marcus adds that to investigate the cause of that day's ogre's rampage, the Imperial Knights will take the corpses for further inspection, and they will not accept any complaints. The scene shifts to the Adventurer Guild, where the guild leader is annoyed and asks Marcus what he means, and if he is trying to steal the monsters they took down. Marcus clarifies that it is an inspection, as it is unusual for the ogres to group and show up in the royal capital, and hence it must be investigated. He adds that he already told him that it would be paid. Titus claims that the price he is offering is too little. Marcus replies to him that it is monetary compensation for cooperating in that operation, and it is not normal trading. Titus is pissed hearing that. He stands up and comments that he just nonchalantly appeared after the fight, and it is not a cooperation from his side. He further adds that the ones who fought and risked their lives were the adventurers, so he should pay them as much. Marcus glares at him and asks to let him go, as he is picking a fight with a knight. The receptionist interferes and asks them to let go and wrap it up. She says that Vice Captain and she will then take over the conversation. Titus apologizes and agrees that he is too quick-tempered. The scene changes to the cabin of the guild leader, where Titus expresses that if that oppression continues, all the adventurers will leave that country. Locke agrees to it. The guild leader adds to it. The adventurers are important to a country's growth and a key line of defense as they help to solve people's problems, hunt monsters, and rid dungeons. Such activities give a result of monster attacks. Also, the mysterious item they get from the dungeons is purchased by the nations to increase their strength. He added that those were not the only reasons, but that stupid bastard did not understand a thing. Locke stated that it was not every day that Titus got so emotional. Titus exclaimed that Marcus and he had a rotten relationship. He then asked Locke to put that aside as he had a request for him. The truth was, lately in the royal capital, there was a frequent case of stolen magic stones called combustible stones. However, since there were no eyewitnesses, the investigation had been challenging. He then asked him if he wanted him to investigate that case. Locke wondered if that was an investigation. Titus stated that he trusted in his skills to solve the investigation, and of course he would be paid even if he did not manage to catch the perpetrator, and if he could apprehend them, there would be a bonus. He said that he understood and would try to investigate the same. Just then, Shannon's stomach growled, and everyone was stunned by it. She was ashamed and extended her apologies. In the next scene, everyone was having food, and Patra exclaimed that the food was so yummy. Locke described the food as a royal capital specialty, skewered Kronto wild boar. There was lard in it, and the food melted in his mouth. Shannon innocently stated that she was sorry for earlier as she was in the middle of an important talk. He consoled her not to worry, as he was hungry as well. She then thanked him. He then stated that as they had their fill, it was time to move on to the next one. They then reached the weapon shop of weapons, where everyone was checking for weapons. The man there asked him if Locke was there for a new fitting. Locke greeted him and identified him as Matteo. Matteo disclosed that he heard that a lot of things had happened with his previous friends. He further added that those people belittled his support magic, and it must be nice for them to get a taste of their own medicine. Locke inquired if he knew about his divine guardian. Matteo stated that of course he knew, as he was a weapon shop owner after all, and that was not his class equipment in the first place. Matteo further asked what brought him there that day. He clarified that he wanted to find suitable equipment for those kids. Matteo was surprised, and stated that as he then looked at that kid, was not she the queen of orange ants? And that was the gargoyle formed the veteran troops. He then exclaimed that Locke was such a typical one as always, and he could try as many as he wanted. Locke thanked him for it. Everyone started investigating the weapons as per their need. After a short while, everyone was holding their respective weapons, and it seemed that everyone had decided. Locke examined Shannon and Gargoyle if they were really happy with those weapons. They exclaimed that they were more familiar with their current equipment, and it was okay since magic was their main magic. He then turned to Patra and asked her if she was going for a staff, and she nodded. She added that she wanted to use magic to help people just like Locke does, but she wondered if she would be able to wield magic. Locke patted her head and told her that she could try as Patra also has magic power, and they could train together. Patra was happy hearing that. Locke pondered that since Patra had commanding skill, it seemed auxiliary magic would suit her. A man entered the shop, and Matteo welcomed him and apologized to him as it was a bit crowded that day. As soon as he entered there, he kicked Patra with all his might. Patra rolled on the floor, and he rushed at her, asking if she was okay. The man asked him about the monsters there as it was an ice war. Locke asked him why he would do all that all of a sudden. The man smirked and asked him not to bring women and monsters. The man asked him not to get cocky just because he had some monsters who would do his bidding. It was a sudden act of violence. He then proudly asked him who he thought he was. Patra stood up, and Locke inquired if he was hurt anywhere. She stated that she was okay and was smiling there. He stated that if that was supposed to be surprise attack training, then he should have kicked a lot sooner. Locke thanked God. The man got pissed and told them not to ignore him and asked them if they really knew who he was. They all refused. Patra asked him if he was some ruffian. Gargoyle asked if he was someone who likes kicking young girls. The man was annoyed and stated that if they did not know, then he would just tell them who he was. He then introduced himself as Misal. He further stated that he was born in a high-class noble family, but was most likely to become the next leader of the Order of the Knights. He asked them if they knew what would happen if they picked a fight with someone like him, and clarified that it would be with the entire Order of Knights. Locke stated that his threats did not scare him, and asked him to apologize to Patra right then. Missile asked Shannon, calling her an elf, to tell the cocky beast guy off for him. He clarified that as an elf who had lived for so many years, She understood very well what would happen when someone picks a fight with the Order of the Night. She was not pleased hearing that and asked him what he just stated. Missile smirked at her, asking if he did hurt her feelings, as it was only natural that elves who live within human settlement outside Elf Village were no different than old hacks. He added that she did not have to fret over it, as she did not have to sweat over the small stuff, even though she was an old hack. Locke and Gargoyle were perplexed hearing that. Shannon got pissed and stated that he was wrong, and she could not forgive him for calling Locke some beast guy. She took out her sword and pointed it towards him. Shannon stated that he was the pest who could not even understand words, and she was going to teach him some manners right there. And then, just then, Marcus entered the shop and stood at the back of Misal, and Misal stated that she was going to regret that. He turned at Marcus. However, Marcus was not pleased with that situation. In the next frame, Misal was seen thrashed and was extending his apologies to them. Just then, Marcus bowed to them and stated that Misal had explained the situation to him, and as the leader of the Order of the Night, he was very sorry about his subordinate's action. He then turned to Patra and apologized. Patra clarified that it was not to worry, as she was not hurt at all. She added that his kick was honestly quite weak. Locke stated that if Patra was fine with that, then he would forgive him this time as well. Marcus apologized to him, and Locke asked him if he knew about him. Marcus clarified that of course he did, as the only people who do not know about the S-rank adventurer were idiots like Misal. He then turned to Misal and asked him if he had completed his investigation. He denied it. Marcus then excused the shop owner and asked him if he could tell him how frequently the combustible stones were stolen. The man stated that about 1 or 2 stones were stolen every week, and they just lost one again that day. Locke asked him if they figured out the culprit's objective. Marcus replied negatively. He added that, as of then, that area loses 1 combustible stone every 2 or 3 days, and before that, a large quantity of stones had also been stolen from the Orders of the Night storehouse. He then asked Locke to let them know if they found any useful information regarding the case. He agreed. He then stated that it was the time they returned to headquarters. They left, and Locke was surprised. Shannon expressed that she expected him to be someone more menacing than that. Locke asked if he thought like that. As if they did not have that conversation with Titus, then he might have thought that he was a good person. Locke then asked the shopkeeper if he could show him the location where all the combustible stones were stolen from. The man agreed to it and asked him to come that way. They then entered a chamber, weapons were placed there, and a box was also there. The man exclaimed by pointing to a table that was originally placed on that work table. Locke, looking at the surroundings, pondered that there were 2 entrances, and he guessed it was possible for the thief to enter the room without the store owner noticing. He then wondered why the thief would take the trouble just to steal 1 combustible stone. As if the thief intended to sell the stone off to make money, then it would have been more profitable to steal the more expensive weapon in that room. He wondered what their objective could be to steal those stones. Locke then asked the shopkeeper where he kept the other combustible stones. He showed him the chest and clarified that the chest was tightly locked shut, and none of the stones in the chest had been stolen before. Locke understood and pondered that he could not make any guesses based on the information they have so far. He then asked Mateo if he could summon one of his familiars there, and if he was okay with that as he was kind of tough. Mateo clarified that it was not a problem. He then raised his hand and asked Lucky to come out. Lucky emerged and was perplexed as it was congested. Lucky then asked him why he would summon him inside such a narrow space. Locke apologized. Mateo was perplexed and stated that he had heard the rumors about it, but it was really Fenrir. Lucky smiled. Locke asked Lucky if he could track the thief down by that scent. He agreed. Lucky then disclosed that it was hard, as there were so many other scents mixed in that room, and it was hard to tell which scent he was supposed to look for. Lucky numbed and apologized he was not of any help. Locke patted him and thanked him for coming. Mateo exclaimed that it was incredible, as his familiars could go inside his bracelet. Locke nodded to it. Mateo praised him, stating that seeing him use that item so skillfully, he just could not help but feel emotional. In the next scene, he was seen talking to Shannon and stating to her that when he and Locke met first, he used to be quite the clumsy fellow. She stated that she never thought that he would have a phase like that. Mateo was about to state an incident to her, but Locke asked them to just stop that. Mateo apologized, and Locke was seen not to be pleased. He then turned to Patra and apologized to her for the thing that just happened to her, and then he told her that he wanted to give something as a token of apology. He then showed her an armor and stated that it was a mithril melons plate he made, and it was light but strong, so he was sure it would come in handy. Locke was perplexed and inquired if it was made of mithril. He clarified that if he was not wrong, then only the royal family and the more elite noble families could have weapons that were from such a rare material. He denied taking something that priceless. However, Mateo stated that it was fine, as a customer of his was troubled whenever she came to his store. He then clarified that there was a noble family who had requested him to make that melon plate for their child, but that child contracted a serious illness and could no longer use that melon plate anymore. He then added that the noble family left the disposal of the melon plate to him, but he could not stand having to destroy something he worked so hard to make. He chuckled and told them that he would appreciate it very much if they could put that thing to good use. Locke was perplexed and stated that they would take that if it was okay with him. Mateo called it great and asked him to come back after a few days, as he needed to make some adjustments to that first. It was the next day, and the ants were seen facing the Great Bear all by themselves. They were happy, holding their weapons. One of the orange ants attacked the Great Bear and took it down. Locke was stunned by it and wondered that there was no way, as a single hit took down the Great Bear, as it was a B-rank monster. All of them were seen taking down the Great Bears at an ease. Locke wondered about its amazing ability, as all of them had pretty much mastered their weapons in one day. He thought that they mainly fought with their bare hands. He never expected their combat ability to increase by that much just by holding a weapon. He then smiled and clarified that honestly, he looked forward to their growth from there on. The subjugation was complete there, and Locke called it for the same. Locke then turned to them and exclaimed that it was a quest for them to test out their skills with that new weapon. But he guessed that they had no problem at all. Just then he was called by one of the orange ants. He bent and asked her if she was hurt. He shook her head, and just then he was called by Patra. She was asking him for admiration. He then patted her and stated that she was amazing. Patra was happy there, and soon all orange ants demanded the same. He asked them to come one by one. All of them were flustering, and Locke exclaimed that it looked like they were satisfied. Just then, he heard a voice that the sacred beast Wyvern was about to be born, and if he wanted to befriend him, Locke was perplexed and wondered if it was the sacred beast. The scenes shifted where the eggs were cracking down, and new baby wyverns were emerging out of it. It was the birth of new friends. Everyone was happy about their hatching. Locke then thanked the skybird for taking care of the eggs and stated that who would have thought that eggs they got from that time would hatch so soon. He then saw Lucky and stated that Lucky was a little surprised though. A sound emerged and clarified that he had befriended the holy beast Wyvern, and now he can upgrade 3 locations or facilities. The magical options emerged in front of him, and he wondered about the hot springs. He then added about the banana tree and a mine. All 3 things were already there, including the mine, hot spring, and the banana tree. He pondered that a hot spring on an elevated mountain would feel amazing. He then turned to the mine and disclosed that he might be able to customize his own weapons or forge armors with special skills within the mini monster garden from then on. Switching to the banana tree, he disclosed that they could harvest bananas, and it was fun to see how the mini monster garden was developing. Locke then asked Shannon to go back to the guild to give them the report on the completion of the quest to subjugate the huge boars. Shannon agreed. Shannon and Locke were riding onto Lucky. He exclaimed that he was going to cook some huge boar meat tonight, and then sell the unused meat at the market. When they were discussing it, Lucky suddenly stopped there, and Locke inquired about what was wrong. Lucky turned and saw something far. Lucky asked them to go and check it out, as it could be a ghost. As they reached there, Locke wondered where the ball of fire disappeared. Lucky called it too bad. Shannon was holding Locke, and he saw him trembling there. She apologized and explained that she was not that good with ghosts. He patted him there, and she was totally flustering. He consoled her, stating that she got Lucky and him there with her, and if that was too much for her to handle, she could always wait inside the mini monster garden. She agreed to it and was flustered from the patting. The tomb describes that the great sage Dalmort rests there. Locke got perplexed reading that. He then described that Dalmort was often referred to as the Great Sage. According to the legends, she contributed greatly to the country's development. He added that she was stunningly beautiful, yet also kind, as she possessed incredible knowledge and wisdom. Also, for the sake of that country, she went to the Demon Lord's castle alone and made the demons sign a ceasefire agreement. He concluded that the peace they had then was all thanks to her noble actions. Shannon called her an incredible person, Locke clarified that it was just a legend, and they never know if she was a person like what the legend told them. Then he added that the sun had begun to set, so instructed them to return to the guild. Lucky agreed to it. They reached the Adventurer Guild, and someone was asking if he was saying that there was some problem with his quest. It was Misal. The receptionist clarified that just as she has said earlier, the problem lies in the quest details, and she cannot say for certain if any adventurer would be willing to complete the quest for the reward being offered. And that was why she said that she cannot give a definite answer. Locke interfered and asked what was going on. Misal asked him if he was the beast tamer from the last day, and he was just there at the right time. Misal then asked him to accept that request for him. Locke wondered about that quest, and read it as a number of used combustible stones had been found in the sewers, and it was looking for someone to go clean and investigate the sewers. He was shocked to read that the rewards were 30 gold coins. He then screamed at Misal if what the heck was that, as he was pretty much asking the adventurers to volunteer for him at that point as the reward was too little. Misal replied that it didn't matter, and clarified that he expected the quest that he, as a noble and the next to be a holy knight commander, provided to be accepted regardless, and Locke shall consider it an honor. Misal then turned to the receptionist, stating that the guild pretty much exists to help the Knights Order with their miscellaneous errands in the first place, and a lot of them should stop complaining and ask them to just approve the quest already. He then called the receptionist a useless and ugly woman. She smirked there and asked him if he called her ugly. He nodded to it. Her eyes turned scary, and she looked at him and asked him who he thought he was calling ugly. Misal was completely scared, and she smiled. He exclaimed that he understood that he should paste it on the bulletin board for them. She started to just do whatever he wanted. Misal then ran away. Locke then asked her if she was okay. She exclaimed that continuing to quarrel any further would only cause a problem for thee, and she guessed that all she could do was just to learn from his experience. The receptionist then smirked and clarified that Misal was definitely trying to insult the guild. Then she denied it and stated that he was trying to insult him. The scene changed, and he was in the sewer. Locke and Shannon were there. He stated that apparently the used combustible stones flowed into the sewers, then it should be around there. Choosing a point there, he used his clean magic and found the used combustible stones. But he stated that if that was only that much, then he did not think that it was enough to gather enough clues. Shannon pointed to a location and stated that she was going over there to check, as if there were any other rocks they had not found yet. Locke warned him to be careful as it was a slippery floor. Shannon expressed it would be fine. She then spun there and asked Locke to see her as she had no problems maintaining the balance. Just then, she slipped and was about to fall in the sewer. In a spur of a moment, Locke surprisingly saved her and she was in his lap. He then expressed that it was good that he believed in her own abilities, but overconfidence was dangerous. She apologized to him and pondered that his face was so close. Locke exclaimed that he thought it was time they head back as it stinks there. She agreed to it too. As they exited, he expressed that it was completely dark then. Shannon wondered about her feelings. He then suddenly asked her if she would like to enter with him. In the next scene, the wyvern flew at him and sat in his lap. He called it amazing as they could fly about 2 meters high. Gargoyle expressed that wyverns grow fast, and also the skybird, and he taught them how to fly. Locke curiously asked him if he could fly. Gargoyle nodded to it and expressed that those wings of his were not decorative. He added to it that he could even fly with the 2 of them on his back. Locke wondered if that was so, and asked him then if he could fly around the outskirts of the capital. Gargoyle agreed to it. Shannon was confused, and Locke inquired about her. Shannon screamed that he would go too. Locke asked them to go on. After a short while later, they were flying, and Locke expressed that Gargoyle was amazing as he was really carrying them. Gargoyle stated it was not that much and asked Shannon if she was okay. She nodded to it. She was completely stunned. The royal capital was glittering, very beautiful. Locke expressed that it was beautiful, and Shannon expressed that it was just like a carpet of light. He then thanked Gargoyle a lot. Gargoyle expressed that he was happy that he was able to be useful, as he could not help out much in a fight after all. Locke asked him not to worry about fighting as he was already great help with cooking and laundering, and also just being able to fly like that was already a great skill. Gargoyle cried and extended his thanks to him. Locke then told him if it was possible. He thought that he could undo his seal too. Gargoyle thanked him again, and wordly stated that if he undid his seal, then he did not think he could remain himself afterwards. Locke asked him to fly when the wyverns grow bigger. He agreed. He then stated that he hoped to have a familiar that could fly while carrying Lucky around. Gargoyle expressed that he knows about a monster who might be able to do it. He explained that he was talking about a griffin, as it was quite big, so it should be able to fly carrying Lucky. He added that he was his best friend, so he was sure that he would help them out. Locke clarified that if that was the case, then let them pay him a visit once they were done with that quest, and ask them to head back to the mini monster garden then. In the next scene, all of them were around the hot spring and were ready to get in. They all went into the hot spring and expressed that the view was pretty good. Shannon was still flustered about whether all of them were going together. Locke then asked her if what was wrong, and she replied that it was nothing. The orange ants were playing in the hot spring, and all others were explaining that it felt so good and warm. Lucky was seen over there too, to which Locke expressed his curiosity that he didn't hate baths. Lucky nodded to it and added that he did not like being washed, but he liked the hot spring, as it was wide and deep so he could put his whole body in it. Locke wondered if it was like that. Lucky stated that the reason why he could enter hot springs like that was because he brought him out of the dungeon with him. He then thanked him. Locke smiled and stated that he was the one who should be thankful as he could have died in the dungeon of flames of destruction. They both took their hands out and patted each other. This was seen by everyone, and all of them were happy. The next day when they were at the weapon shop, Patra expressed that it fits her perfectly. Locke agreed to it and she smiled. He then thanked Mateo. Mateo asked him not to mention it, and added that he also took the opportunity to forge some armor for the ant, and if those guys would try them out while they were there. Locke stated that he did not have to, but the ants were happy. Mateo expressed that it was just that he did not get many opportunities to make armor for kids, so he was just having fun at it. Then asked Locke not to worry about it, and just take them as he did not use that material too. The ants were enthusiastic. He expressed that it should be enough. However, Mateo stated that he was not accepting any payment. Locke replied negatively and stated that it was not for the equipment, but an expression of his attitude. He added that if he still did not wish to accept it, he could reserve it for when a penniless adventurer comes, or if for any reason a kid who wants an armor set does, please make their equipment without charging them. Mateo apologized to him and stated that it felt like he was the one worrying over him. Locke replied not to worry, as recently he quit some so-called S-rank party, and that was the money he got after leaving. Mateo took the pouch and exclaimed that then he would keep that money in a different place. As he went there, Mateo screamed out for Locke to come there. Locke reached at the point and asked him if what was wrong. Mateo stated that just then the combustible stones were stolen. Locke was perplexed hearing that. Mateo described that he saw some blue light leaving the window. He called out for Locke and asked him to follow the scent. He sniffed and exclaimed that the scent was still quite strong and he could track that guy down. Locke declared to other than Locke everyone should wait inside the mini monster garden, and he would girl when he needed their help. Everyone agreed to it. The very next moment, Locke was riding over Locke and Locke was following the scent. He pondered that they did it without anyone noticing, wondering if in the world it could be. Locke expressed that they had reached their destination. It was the same tomb they had earlier visited. Locke clarified that it was Dalmort's tomb, and then asked Locke if he was sure that it was there. Locke stated that the scent was cut off on the back of that tomb. Locke inquired and inspected around the tomb and expressed that nothing on it looked suspicious. He then contemplated that even if the stones were stolen by a ghost, just then the skybird was there holding something in its beak again. Locke defined that it was the flower of exorcism. As soon as he sprinkled the flower over the tomb, there was a sudden shine over there, and a staircase opened just then behind the tomb. All of them were confused about it. Locke identified that staircase as a suspicious invitation and stated that it was an illusion magic. He then pondered that to be deceived by an illusion like that was normal, as he had never seen a spell that powerful. Locke asked him what they should do, as the opening was too narrow for him to enter. Locke took a pause and declared that for the meantime he would enter alone. Locke started to call him if anything happens, as he will get in somehow, even if it was narrow. Locke then thanked him. Locke entered and used the light magic for better visibility. As he was getting down, he pondered if the stolen magic stones were there. In the next scene, he was in a room and declared that he had never expected such a wide space under the grave. Just then, he heard someone exclaiming that he was a guest, and it was rare too. As soon as he turned around, he saw a skeletal demon and identified it as a Lick. Lick asked him that he should be a high-ranking magic user if he found that place. Locke went on his guard and asked him who he was. Lick mockingly stated that the only being who can exist under his grave should be him only. Locke was stunned hearing him and inquired if he was Dalmort. Locke asked him if even he was, what he would do. Locke pondered if Dalmort became a Lick, as it was impossible. Just then, a pixie arrived there and asked him to put his weapon away, and inquired him what he was trying to do with Dalmort. Locke was shocked at it. Pixie continued that if he was looking for a fight, then he had to get through her first, as she was going to burn him until he became a fiery, juicy liquid. Lick stopped her as it was enough, as what she stated hardly made any sense. Pixie mockingly stated to Locke that it looked like he would not be facing her wrath that day. Lick then asked Locke why he had come there. Locke clarified that currently there had been many repeated occurrences where combustible stones were stolen, and he had come there to investigate further on those stolen stones. He added that they followed the thief's scent and it brought them there, but he had no idea who the thief might be. Hearing that, Pixie was sweating and gulped. Locke noticed it, and Lick inquired, calling her Lala if she did it. She was shivering and exclaimed that she was sorry. She added that she could not find any in the dungeon, so she did that. Lick asked her if he had not already told her not to cause trouble for others. She screamed out that without those combustible stones, Dalmort would be. As she was about to complete, she was interrupted, and Locke asked him if there was some kind of reason behind that. Lick stated that it was not a big deal, as without the combustible stones, her life would just burn out. Locke was stunned hearing that. Switching to the flashback, Lick exclaimed that she wondered how much time had passed since that time. She was sitting on the throne and was identified as the great sage, or rather heavy drinker, Dalmort. She was telling them to bring more sake, as there was hardly any. It was a competition there, where the contestant in front of her exclaimed that he could not drink anymore. Dalmort mocked him, stating that he could not even handle that much, and asked him if he was really a demon lord. She then declared that it was her win, and as per the promise, he would bring a stop to the war. The demon lord clarified that it was not like those demons wanted to start a war in the first place. He added that the humans cut down all the trees and the hills and fields, and there was not enough food left for the monsters, so he was just taking some of the land back. He then sighed and explained that they were the demons and did not know any methods of growing their own food. She replied to him that she would teach him how to grow their own food and asked him if he would stop the war then. She then disclosed that there was an abundance of food, as once the monsters' stomachs were filled, their hearts were completely satisfied as well. Afterwards, the war came to an end. She used that opportunity to devote herself to her research on the problem of food. She added that it was the time when she took an apprentice, and her name was Lydia. She was kind-hearted and was always smiling. She was not talented with magic, but their communication skills were unmatched, and many came to trust her. Dalmort, who found it hard to speak his mind without alcohol, admired her for that. As Dalmort was doing research, she exclaimed that with that rate of growth of crops should increase drastically. Lydia congratulated her for the same. Dalmort disclosed that if more food could be produced with fewer workers, then the food problem should get solved faster. Just then, Lydia asked her if that was not the time to continue her research on the undead hidden treasure. Lydia added that if they could create the undead and make them work for them, then they could make them produce food semi-permanently, as the undead do not even need food, so the amount of manpower they needed would. She was interrupted in between by Dalmort, who told her that she would not continue her research on the undead any longer. She added that it was true that she investigated the undead extensively back then, and one can even say that she was close to completing that. But that research must never be completed at any cost. Further, she clarified that even if only theoretically such capabilities could be militaristic purposes, and so if it was completed, the balance of power of the world would definitely be significantly upset. Lydia asked her what was wrong with that. Dalmort was stunned. Lydia replied that the world was already at peace, and who cares if there is a food shortage problem, as they should focus on the research that would shock the world. She then expressed that just like Dalmort, she also wanted to accomplish something that would carve her name in history, and it was why she decided to become her apprentice. Dalmort expressed to her that it was enough. Lydia clenched her fist and expressed that at that rate she would even be able to become number one. There was calmness in the environment, and a short time later Lydia disappeared together with her research papers on the undead. She stated that after that she spent the rest of her life searching for Lydia, but alas, she could not find her at all. She was dead, and expressed that her search for the undead research papers and Lydia ended there, she thought. She died, but she was not dead for good. Many, many years passed, and her magic contained in the soil, and eventually she became an undead made of bones or lick. She clarified that she might have had limitless magical powers when she was still alive, but she had to adjust the amount of magic while making new rooms below her grave. She also cast illusion magic on the entrance. She added that then, using her own body as a test subject, she began researching the undead again, as if Lydia was able to complete the research on the undead. Then she must create a countermeasure. Just then, she fell on the ground and exclaimed that she could not continue for, as expected. As long as she was in that state with no magic supply, she could not support that body at all. She added that in that room there were no magical stones that she could extract either. She then lay on the ground and exclaimed that it was at them. Out of nowhere, a pixie arrived there. Dalmort greeted her, and she was scared that a skeleton just spoke. Dalmort stated that she was right and told her that it was her grave. Pixie apologized to her for entering so suddenly. Dalmort stated that it was okay as that was the first time she had a guest in her grave. She then asked about her wing. Pixie got flustered and expressed to Dalmort that there was nothing to do with her, as it looks bad and ugly. Dalmort asked if that was ugly. She defined that it was because of that wing she could not fly too well, as everyone also stated that it was ugly, and it was something she had to be ashamed of. Lick understood it. She then consoled Pixie that if she was ugly, then about her as if she was a skeleton. She added that rather than being ugly, her appearance was probably more startling and frightening. Also, she could not even fly, as it would be so wonderful if she could. This made Pixie fluster. Lick then introduced herself as Dalmort, and Pixie introduced her as Lala. They both then talked about a lot of things. Pixie asked her if Dalmort was not the name of the great sage. Lick clarified that she was only that great sage. Pixie laughed at her. They both then smiled and expressed to her that they were each other's first friends, and then Dalmort told her about the imminent death. Hearing that, Lala stated that she would bring back a magic stone, as she would not let Dalmort die. Returning to the present, she declared that it was why she was the thief who stole the combustible stone, and whatever way Locke planned to use as punishment, he could do that to her only. Pixie interfered and commented that she was wrong, as she stole the stones for herself. Lick stated that it was all right, and besides, she was just obeying the orders she gave to her, and that was why it was all her responsibility. Pixie stated that she was lying and called her that she didn't even know her. Pixie added that she stole the stones on a whim. Lick asked her to follow her words, and she would be fine. She added to her understanding and asked her not to put her life on the line for her, as she does not have a long life to live. Pixie cried out and denied it, clarifying that she was her first friend, and so she wanted her to live. They both were emotional. Locke contemplated that it was true that crimes related to magic, even if it was just theft, had a high chance of resulting in the death penalty. He added that she did have the option of just beating him and running away. Also, nevertheless, she was honest and chose to atone for her crimes. He added that two individuals with the kindness to bear the blame for each other, and there had to be something he could do for both of them. He then stated to them that both of them definitely stole from the shop in the Knight's Order. Lala clarified that she did steal from the shop, but did not know anything about the Knight's Order. Locke was perplexed. He then asked her if she did not know about the huge quantities of combustible stones that were stolen from the Knight's Order. Dalmort stated that they had no knowledge of that, as Lala only brought one combustible stone back. Locke wondered what was the meaning of that, and if there was another thief. They suddenly heard a sudden boom from outside the grave. They rushed outside the grave and were completely shocked, viewing that the kingdom was on fire. He then exclaimed that they were going back to the kingdom. He agreed to it. Locke called him and asked him to bring him along. As they reached the kingdom, they saw that the demons were attacking the people. The guards were asking people to escape to the western gate. The guard rushed and attacked the demon with a slash of the sword. The demon was down on the floor. Suddenly, the demon raised up even after being slashed and attacked the guard. However, the guard was saved there by a girl, who took down the demon with her hammer attack. The girl contemplated it as bad, as why then when the number of adventurers were so few. Locke reached there and called her Rika. She thanked Locke for coming. Locke asked him what was going on. She explained that the large number of monsters the Knight's Order were safekeeping suddenly turned into the undead and started going wild. They were shocked about the undead. She added that the adventurers were helping to fight back, but since they could only be stopped by holy magic, they were struggling to keep it up. She exclaimed that ever since the Knight's Order began pillaging the dead bodies of monsters, and many adventurers moved to other countries as a result. They had sent a call for help to the guilds in other countries, but it would take some time before help arrived. Just then, they turned and saw someone being attacked by the undead. Rika explained that she was heading over and she was counting on him. They were stunned at that. Dormote stated that it must be the power derived from the research papers and that magic was wafting around. She concluded that the culprit must be Lydia. Lydia used the combustible stones as a core to power undead. She was able to complete the undead research through such a method. Dormote added that she must be the culprit behind the theft of all those combustible stones. Just then, he called out on the bracelet and asked all of them to come out at once. They all agreed. Locke explained to them that they were going to subjugate the monsters while protecting the people in that city. He then asked Patra to lead with the directions. She agreed. Just then, the orcs approached him from behind. Lick protected him with an attack on the Castle of Hell. They were burned at that point only. Lick stated that she would help too, and Locke thanked him. He then introduced her to them as Dormote and stated that she was an ally, so she did not have to be afraid. Dormote expressed that it was nice to meet them, and then asked if anyone there had any magic stones. Patra interfered when she got them. There were a lot of them. Dormote expressed that they were some high-quality magic stones, and with that amount, he could envelop the entire kingdom in a barrier and eradicate all the undead. Locke was stunned hearing that, and Lick exclaimed that she needed some time to chant the spell. They all stated that it was all right as they were going to help him. They all rushed towards the demons to attack them. It was an intense fight, and Locke was asking them to be careful as the undead could be revived. Just then, the undead were seen vanishing, and Locke exclaimed about the same. He wondered what was the meaning of that, as Shannon and the other adventurers could not even beat them. Only his familiars were able to defeat them. He then commanded the other adventurers to call out their familiars. As with his skill, they might be able to imbue their attacks with holy proprietors. Shannon was completely stunned there, and there was a ray of hope for them. A short while later, Locke expressed that they shaved off a good number of them. The Knight's Order arrived there. The adventurers were angry about what took them so long. Larkus felt ominous. Locke cried out that something was not right there. Suddenly, they took their bow and arrow and pointed towards them. In the spur of a second, hundreds of arrows were fired towards the adventurers. They were all stunned by that attack. However, they were protected with the help of Lucky's tail. Locke thanked him. Lucky chuckled. Locke then asked them if what the hell was that, as they were their allies. Larkus was seen possessed with his eyes. Locke exclaimed about the red eyes. Larkus ordered them that there were more enemies ahead and commanded them to kill them. Patra asked him what they should do. He commanded them to knock them down for them. Gargoyle used the wind spirit to come at him. He attacked them, and the attack was so fierce that it took down all of them. They all rose in the next moment. Gargoyle was frightened of how they all got up. Just then, Missile raised his sword from behind, and Locke was seen off guard. However, he was saved as someone attacked Missile. It was Patra, and she asked him to let his guard down. Locke thanked Patra. However, Missile got up in an instant and called out to Patra that it hurts. He was perplexed and asked him if they knew who they were. Missile stated that of course he does, and then asked him why the atmosphere there was a little weird. Locke pondered that his eyes looked normal, and wondered if they did break his brainwash. He then thought and understood that knocking them out with magic does not work, but knocking down with blunt force does work. He then commanded everyone to just hit the knights, as they might regain their consciousness if hit by a physical attack. Missile asked him what was going on. Locke explained that the capital was attacked by an army of undead, and then someone brainwashed the Knight's Order afterward. He understood that. Locke asked him to just leave that place to them, and he should help people to evacuate. Missile called out that he was a Knight of Order, and it was his duty to fight and protect the people. He then rushed to the monsters, exclaiming that the monsters who had injured the kingdom people would face his wrath. Locke asked him to wait, as he could not take them alone. Missile pondered that the small fries were worth less, and he would go for the strong one instead. He attacked an ogre from behind with a slash. He smirked after the attack, and the ogre turned at him with anger. Missile got frightened at it and expressed that it barely had damage. Ogre attacked him, and he fell down. However, as soon as he was going to get up, he saw that the ogre was about to attack him. Everyone around there was completely stunned at that moment. In the next scene, Patra was seen protecting Missile by blocking the ogre attack. After seeing it, Missile exclaimed to her that a weakling like her should just run away. Patra was seen trembling there. Seeing that, Locke rushed to save her. He pondered that even though she was in a rank monster, 2 punches from an ogre would still be too much for her. He plunged towards them, screaming out for all of them to get out of the way. Just then, he saw that Ogre had joined his hand and was about to attack her, and she was standing there totally numbed. The Ogre attacked her mercilessly, and everyone called out for Patra. The scene opens up where Locke was totally stunned as Patra was about to be attacked by the Ogre. The Ogre attacked on the floor by joining his both fists. Locke was totally stunned, holding his weapon there. He was screaming that it should not be happening. Shannon, Patra, Orange Ants, and Locke, all of them were stunned. They were all in disbelief. A flashback started in front of Locke's eyes. From how he met Patra to how she used to call him Papa, Locke was overwhelmed, and he was almost about to cry. Tears were on the edge of his eyes, and all of a sudden he screamed out of anger and sadness for Patra. He was on his knees screaming aloud the name of Patra over there. At the very next moment, a wyvern was seen carrying Patra on its peak. The wyvern came near to Locke and put down Patra over there safely. Patra was totally blanked. Everyone was stunned and was watching how the wyvern was carrying Patra on its peak and saved her from the Ogre. Lucky asked Locke to get it all together and told him that Patra was fine. Locke stood up and saw Patra. She apologized to him as she thought that she was going to die. Seeing Patra, Locke thought of how she was saved. She described that wyvern helped her. It was like the wyvern came out of the mini monster garden from the watch of this and took away Patra as soon as the Ogre was about to attack her. When Locke saw wyvern, he was in confusion and exclaimed shockingly, when did they get so big? Gargoyle then told him that dragons grow up very quickly. Locke wondered if that was seriously happening where that was a result of the holy beastification. Anyways, Locke smiled and thanked wyvern and told him that he was so grateful as wyvern did a great help to him. Suddenly, Shannon came and apologized for interrupting and reminded him that the battle was still going on. Locke then gave Patra a sip of a healing potion. As soon as she drank that bottle of potion, she felt an energy within herself. She thanked Locke and exclaimed happily that she could move again. Further, she ordered all the orange ants to get on the wyverns. They all got on the wyverns and seemed too excited. Locke was amazed to see that. Shannon softly smiled at them and commented that they were looking like little dragon's knights. They all attacked the Ogre standing there with an intention to take it down. Locke was happy to see that and added that they should take care of the rest of the knights. Suddenly, out of nowhere, someone attacked Locke from behind. The man attacked Locke with his sword, but he somehow managed to dodge it. Locke fell on the ground and seemed shocked as he could not understand what just happened there. Locke managed to get back on his feet and identified the person. The person asked if it was Locke and if he was planning on getting in his way. The person was disclosed as Marcus. He stated that the Knight's Order would get rid of every adventurer in the Adventurers Guild and added that Titus must be eliminated. Locke was astonished hearing that. Just then, Marcus plunged towards him, stating that if he got in the way, he would die. The fight started between Locke and Marcus. Marcus was attacking him fiercely, and he was somehow managing to defend it. Locke contemplated that he was truly a leader of the Knight's Order, and he never expected to fight him. Just then, Marcus sent Locke flying with his attack. Locke was in pain and exclaimed that it was not good as Marcus was really strong. He asked Marcus to come back to his senses. Marcus claimed that he was perfectly sane and proclaimed that the adventurers were the weird ones. Marcus was pissed at why everyone was praising Titus everywhere as he is just the chief of the Adventurers Guild. He then praised himself, stating that on the other hand, he had been acknowledged by the king as the leader of the Knight's Order, and no matter how they see it, he was just the superior. Everyone out there was just staring at Marcus. Marcus clarified that the country only needs the Knight's Order. He then clarified to him that if he gets in his way, he would kill him. Marcus then plunged towards Locke with his sword, and in the middle of his way, Lucky asked him to shut up and shot him down with just one swing of his tail. Marcus was sent flying and got bashed into the doors there. Lucky called him a noisy little fellow. Locke smiled and extended his thanks to Lucky as he saved him. Locke stood up, and Shannon asked Wordley if he was okay. He replied positively, but as seeing Marcus, he was stunned if he was all right. Although Lucky smashed Marcus down, Marcus still somehow managed to get up. His hands were broken, and he was not in his senses. After seeing him in that condition, Locke yelled at Lucky and asked him which part of his body he hit with his tail as he was moving weirdly. Lucky seemed like he did not even care, and replied that it was just a normal attack. Locke clarified as there was no way of that. On the other side, Marcus was trying to get up properly, and finally, he made it. He mocked Locke, calling it absurd as he could still joke about it in that situation. He claimed that those adventurers surely took it easy. Locke got stunned after noticing that his tone had changed and asked who he was. Marcus smirked and revealed that she was Lydia, the #1 apprentice who studied under the legendary sage Domort. Everyone was stunned out there. She further claimed that she would then inherit her will. Locke asked her what she wanted. She laughed and exclaimed she would tell him before he died. She was laughing out like a devil and explained that he intended to make her research, the research on the power of the treasure of the undead, to be made known to the entire world. She added that the country would be sacrificed to help her in achieving that goal. But she asked them to not worry and claim that even if they die, she could use them as an undead. Locke shouted at her that the research did not belong to her and revealed that Domort was the one who started that unfinished research. She asked him if he knew that much, but she clarified that he was the one who completed it, or, in other words, that it was her research. Locke then asked her if she was the one who stole all those combustible stones too. Then, Lydia winked, smirked, and clarified that he should know that much. She described it in detail that he was saying right. She took control of the leader of the Knight's Order and stole them. She called it dramatic, as he was looking for the culprit when he was the culprit all along. She then asked him to cut out their chat. She then extended her hand and ordered all the Knight's undead to kill everyone. However, every undead was already on the ground. Lydia was calling out for everyone to kill them. Locke seemed confused and wondered if that person is not able to understand that most of the undead are dead by then. Lydia greeted them goodbye, and Marcus fainted there. Shannon then asked Locke if where her real body could be. Locke then turned to Lucky and asked him if he could find her. Lucky apologized and stated that he could not find her without her scent. Locke was pondering what they should do next. Suddenly, someone clarified about their presence. As they turned, they saw Domort there. She was holding some kind of magic ball in her one hand, and Lala was with her too. She claimed that she would annihilate any undead who dares to come her way. Locke giggled and denied that he had nothing to do, and clarified that they all had already been taken care of. Domort then saw that all the undeads were on the floor. Domort took a pause for a while and cornered herself in sadness. She then asked for a glass of beer. Locke apologized to her and asked her if she knew where they could find Lydia. Domort replied positively that she knew where Lydia would be, and she asked him to follow her. The scene then shifted to the destination, where all of them were. Locke got astonished and wondered if Lydia was there, as it was an observational tower outside the city. Dormo told them that Lydia was there. Locke then commanded that everyone except for Shannon and Patra should stand by in the mini-monster garden. All agreed to follow his command. While he went to open the door, Domort told him that it was not the entrance. She then raised her hand and formed a magic circle. The magic circle opened a door to a staircase. Locke wondered if the entrance was hidden with illusion magic, and they then entered through that. When they were climbing down the staircase, Shannon covered her nostrils and asked about that foul smell. Domort stated that she did not know how Lydia could have lived longer than 100 years, and clarified that her body should not be in good condition. When they arrived, they saw a magic circle there, and Lydia was standing, holding a magic book. Lydia got impressed that they had come that far, as she was not expecting that they would come there. She claimed that there should have been a large number of undead outside, and wondered how they got through. Locke revealed that they beat all of them, and the Knights of the Knight's Order had also regained consciousness. Lydia commented that these adventurers sure liked to jest. Domort interrupted, saying that it was not a joke. She greeted Lydia and exclaimed that it had been a long time since she saw her. Lydia asked her who she was, as she did not remember ever making a lick like her. Dormote used her Castle of Hell and exclaimed that it could help her jog her memory. It was a magical fireball attack of Fireball. Lydia was stunned to see that ancient magic. She attacked her back with a water dragon. Her magic extinguished all the fire over there. The flames were still there in a circular form, and to see those flames, Lydia understood that Licht was Domort. Domort laughed. Lydia got pissed and asked if she turned into a lick to stop her from spreading her name throughout the world. Domort sighed and exclaimed that she could have been even more successful if only she were someone of a better caliber. Lydia screamed at her to shut up and asked to not talk as if she knew her. She disclosed that she had been training even after Domort died, and she would not lose to her anymore. Suddenly, Domort attacked her with another magic, Eternal Darkness Drain. The magic emitted black flames. Domort exclaimed that despite being so hardworking, Lydia was still a stupid child. On the other hand, Lydia also did the same magic of Eternal Darkness Drain. They both were using their magic, and all the remaining ones standing there were stunned. Locke exclaimed that they were evenly matched. Domort wondered that Lydia had improved. Lydia was boiling with anger, and she agreed and asked how many years did she think had passed after she died. Patra was seen approaching her casually. As she reached, she attacked her with her wand. Lydia fell down on the floor. She stood up and called out that it was unfair and asked how she could fight all of them alone. Patra was giving a very demonic look. Locke chuckled and described that she was so angry as she was about to die because of her. Lydia responded to her attack with numerous illusion shadow. The magic resulted in the formation of several clones of Lydia. She mockingly asked Patra to attack after identifying the real one. Patra identified her in a split second and bashed her with her wand again. Lydia wondered if her illusion magic did not work on her. On the other side, Locke and Shannon were giggling as the actual body smelled so bad it was easy to tell them apart. Patra, while staring at Lydia, exclaimed that if she died, her papa would be sad, and shouted that she would not allow Lydia to make her papa sad. Lydia was not able to understand what she was saying. Locke saw that Patra was emotional. Domort stopped Patra and apologized for interrupting, but asked her to leave Lydia to her, as she wanted to take the responsibility to deal with her own disciple. Patra smiled and agreed to it. Domort thanked her. At the very next moment, Domort went to Lydia and asked her to end it since they had lived for too long. She then prepared for her holy magic to end that battle. Lydia got scared. She thought it was impossible. She asked Domort if she was trying to kiss herself. Lydia claimed that no undead would remain if they cast holy magic, and again asked if she was actually going to do that. Domort replied that it was the only way to eliminate all the undead and asked her to die together. Walla came to Domort as she was worried and asked her not to go. Dormot told her that she was happy after meeting her. Domort was about to disappear, and all of a sudden, Locke interfered. He used his magic to pierce her heart. She was stunned after seeing that. Lydia asked her how he was able to cast holy magic without chanting. Locke then apologized to Domort and stated that she did not need to disappear for someone like her. Lydia got pissed and stated that she did not expect to fight such a high-level magic user. She added that if she had a little more time, she could have gotten rid of Domort too. She then warned them that next time she would be back with even more power. Suddenly her body wrinkled, and it was disclosed that it was not her real body. Locke then turned to Domort and stated that there was no meaning in sacrificing herself for it. It was unbelievable for Domort, so she disclosed that unknowingly she became too emotional and assessed the situation incorrectly. Lala came to Domort and hugged her. She then thanked God and claimed that she was so happy that Domort did not disappear. Domort apologized to Lala for making her worried. She added sadly that regardless of anything, they would have to part soon. She disclosed that there were no magic stones left, and they could not use the magic stones that were stolen, so that was goodbye. Locke and Shannon were stunned after hearing that. Lala suggested that they could share them with Locke. It seemed that Lala desperately wanted Domort denied, and stated that they could not trouble Locke any longer. Suddenly, Locke interfered and asked her if she was ready to become his familiar. Lala and Domort seemed a little surprised. Locke explained it further that if she became his familiar, she could freely use as many magic stones as she needed. And also, she still had things to settle with Lydia. Being in confusion, Domort asked Locke if he was sure, and if he really wanted to make a dark race like her one of his familiar. Locke instantly replied positively, but he disclosed the problem that he was a user of holy magic, and that it might have some adverse effects on her. He then added about the worst happening, that Domort might simply just disappear. He then asked her if she would still be okay with that. Domort replied that as long as there was a possibility to carry on living, she could agree to accept any outcome. A sound emerged exclaiming that the Queen of Darkness, Lick, would like to be his friend, and asked Locke if he would befriend it. It added that since it was from the dark race, its dark magic would be greatly weakened. He disclosed to Domort that it looked like her magical powers would be weakened, but that was all, since she would not disappear as he thought. Domort accepted and claimed that it should be fine, as she was counting on him. The sound then clarified that the Queen of Darkness, Lick, had undergone the holy beastification process and became his friend. It added that Locke could now improve one aspect of the monster garden. Just then, a board appeared in front of Locke on which there were several options. Locke thought of getting his hands on some salt so he would go with that small sea. The monster garden had been expanded. Locke asked Dormot what was going to happen to Lala. Lala thanked God, and she seemed too happy for Domort. Domort disclosed that the pixie was already the Queen of Darkness, Lick's familiar, and that was why when the Lick became a familiar, the pixie also became a familiar. Locke laughed and understood. Dormot thanked Locke and asked to take care of her. Domort and Lala were very happy to be his familiar, and they felt nice to meet Locke. The scene then shifted to the royal capital, and there were the people who were clearing the mess. Locke commanded everyone to rebuild the town, and told them that he would go to the guild to report on that quest. Everyone followed his command. The scene then shifted to the Adventurers Guild, and as soon as Locke entered, there was a receptionist who exclaimed it was the good timing. She then took him to a cabin where Titus and Marcus were sitting. He was welcomed there, but the atmosphere did not seem so welcoming. Locke entered and saw them sitting there quietly. Locke wondered whether they were actually sitting down quietly, or if something had happened. He was thinking about that unusual occurrence. He was in confusion, and then asked Rika what was going on there. Rika winked towards Locke as she wished him good luck. She then left the room immediately. Locke asked her to stop. Titus called for him and apologized to him for calling him there when Locke was so busy. Locke was nervous. After a moment, Marcus came forward to Locke and apologized to him from the bottom of his heart. He bowed his head and stated that it was due to his incompetence. He almost ended up killing him, and he apologized again from the bottom of his heart. Locke got surprised, and then he accepted his apology and requested him to lift his head. Locke asked if all the members of the Knight's Order were brainwashed and inquired about what really happened. Marcus apologized as he did not have any memory of what really happened. He then explained that it all might have begun when he met a woman named Lydia 6 months ago. Locke was shocked hearing her name. Marcus further explained that the woman appeared alone when he was out training, and despite meeting for the first time, he remembered that he had a feeling as if he was meeting someone he had known for a very long time. He added, "Perhaps that sweet aroma I remembered smelling was the drug or spell that was used on me." He told him that she summoned all the other members of the Knight's Order and made them gather the corpses of strong monsters to help her develop the country. She further explained that the adventurers were an unwanted obstacle, and how Titus was the source of all evil, as for some reason, they came to believe in her words. As a result, they seized the corpses of those monsters by force, and they were about to banish the adventurers from that country. Marcus then turned towards Titus and bowed his head. He stated that because of all those happenings, he would like to extend his deepest apologies to Titus and all the other adventurers too. Titus and Locke were stunned after knowing all that. Titus exclaimed that it was unbelievable to think that someone as powerful as Marcus would lower his head to him. Titus stood up and accepted Marcus's apology. Marcus thanked him. They were seen discussing something, and Titus claimed that he would do what he could to appease the other adventurers. But for now, they needed to work together and rebuild that city. Marcus agreed to that, and they both shook hands. Marcus clarified that he was looking forward to working with Titus. With that, the Knight's Order vowed to work together with the adventurers, and the guild also made efforts to search for Lydia's whereabouts, but she was a tricky one to find. As the leader of the Knight's Order, Marcus would bear the responsibilities for that entire incident. But for now, the Knights had decided to prioritize the reconstruction of the city. Marcus would be dealt with once the city had been rebuilt, and there was one more person. He was about to continue his statement, but in the middle of the conversation, Rika came inside exclaiming there was bad news. She disclosed that Kid had escaped, who was the former hero. Rika further explained that he slipped away during the confusion they had with the undead. Titus got stunned and asked her what she had just said, and wondered if Kid's escape had been an accident or something else. 1 month passed, and the scene then opened at sea, where Locke, Lucky, Orange Ants, Patra, Shannon, Wyvern, Domwart, and Lala were enjoying themselves. It was a lovely day to be on the beach. Shannon exclaimed that the sea was beautiful. Locke agreed with her. Suddenly, Locke noticed her smile and blushed. She asked what was wrong. He replied it was nothing and added that ever since the first time they met, she had become more cheerful. She then replied that it was all thanks to him. She happily thanked Locke for saving her. Locke turned red at that compliment. Lucky was seen mocking, asking if that was some kind of love or something. Just then, he went to Locke and apologized for interrupting, and asked him the reason for being at the sea that day. Locke then replied that they had all been helping with the reconstruction of the city the whole time, so he thought that it would be good for an occasional change of pace, as it was picnic time. Gargoyle was seen preparing the meal and asked everyone to relax and enjoy the meal. Patra asked what barbecue was. Locke described that barbecue was a style of cooking where they grilled meat and vegetables outdoors. He then asked her to eat together with everyone else. Patra exclaimed happily that it meant that they were always going to be together. Locke chuckled and stated that when she put it that way, then it was right. He then clarified to worry about that later, and called them out to eat the food until they were full. They all were enjoying the barbecue, and Locke was serving it to them. Suddenly, the sky bird came and sat on Locke's head. The bird was chirping, so Locke came to remember that he had not given her a name yet. She got excited hearing that she was about to get a name. Locke started thinking about what he should call her. He suggested Yakitori, and just after hearing that, the bird got shocked. The sky bird then started digging his head. Locke laughed and apologized that he was just joking, and clarified that it was because they were having a barbecue right then, so it just slipped out. He then started thinking of another name, and then suggested several names like Sasami Banjari, Nankatsu Najima, Liver, Hatsu, Gizzard, Sukyun. The bird was sweating after hearing all those names. Just then, Locke asked her how Seal sounded. The bird got flustered hearing that. Seal started moving around in happiness. Locke was enjoying seeing her like that, and concluded that from then on, he would call her Seal. After a moment, Domwart called for Locke and exclaimed that the meat was soft and delicious. He was stunned to see her in human form and asked her who she was. It then turned back into a lick and clarified her identity. She explained that since they were there, her human form would be more pleasing to the eye, and also she could even go out to town like that. Locke smiled and understood that it was an illusion magic. Being confused, he asked Domort if her form was an illusion, then how she could eat as she was made of bones. Domort replied not to worry about the finer details. Locke agreed with her. Lala then went to Locke, showing him a piece of meat, and asked what that sauce was, since it was so delicious. Locke replied that it was a special sauce he made with onions and ginger. She exclaimed that she had never encountered such a delicious sauce like that, and she was so glad that they met Locke. Lala asked Locke to bring more food for her next time because she could not wait. Locke seemed happy and confused at the same time, but he replied positively. He then thought that he would eat some himself too. They all were enjoying it. Shannon was playing with the ball, Domort was performing her magic tricks, and she then created a magic with her water magic, and the orange ants were seen playing on it. Locke was having his meal, and Gargoyle was cheering for all of them. It seemed like a perfect holiday. After a short while, Locke and Lucky were seen sitting at the shore of the sea. Lucky asked Locke what he was doing. Locke replied that he was fishing. He further described it as attaching a hook and bait to a string, so the fish would come and take the bait. It looked interesting to Lucky, so he decided to try it. Afterwards, he put his tail in the sea. Locke smiled and told him that there was no bait on his tail. Lucky chuckled and claimed that with a tail as attractive as his, there was no need for any bait. Locke understood, and he continued his fishing. Locke lay down on Lucky's fluffy body and relaxed. To him, the weather felt so good that day. He exclaimed that sometimes it was good to just relax. Lucky agreed with him and stated they could not forget since time was so precious. Suddenly, Lucky raised and exclaimed that he caught something on his tail. Locke asked him to pull it out immediately. He pulled out his tail, and it was seen that there was something holding on Lucky's tail. Locke got stunned after looking at what he had seen. It was a kind of mermaid who was complimenting Lucky's tail for being so fluffy. Things were about to get more lively. Both Locke and Lucky were stunned, and that mermaid was still calling out that it was fluffy. Lucky asked Locke what he had to do next. Locke then replied to him that she looked kind of dangerous, and asked Lucky to just return her back to the ocean. Lucky agreed, and he started swinging his tail in the air in a back and forth motion. The more he tried, the more she called it fluffy. Lucky then inquired with him for something, and he asked him to just do it. Locke then mercilessly used his magic over her. She was then sent flying back to the ocean. Locke laughed and exclaimed, "What was that all about?" Lucky seemed like he had done nothing. All of them then rushed towards Locke. Shannon asked him if something had happened. Locke smiled and replied that nothing had happened. All of a sudden, the mermaid again emerged from the ocean and was screaming out that it was fluffy. She rushed directly towards Lucky's tail, and Shannon asked, shocked, if it was a mermaid. Locke agreed with her as it looked like that. Lucky could not understand why she was doing that again and again. He told her that he would not be holding back that time. Hearing that, she got scared and asked him to just wait. She then explained that she was not a suspicious mermaid, and her only motive was to touch that fluffy tail of Lucky. Lucky again used his magic and sent her flying away into the ocean. Locke exclaimed that she was scary, and Lucky replied that it was way too suspicious. It was clear that the mermaid was a stubborn one. She again came out of the ocean, calling out that it would be fluffy. She again grabbed his tail. However, Lucky was not so pleased with it. It seemed like she got obsessed with that fluffy tail. Lucky got irritated, and he asked Locke for help. Locke thought of what he could do. Dalmort then approached the location and asked Locke to leave that to her. She performed her famous fireball magic, and clarified to her that if she stayed there, she would turn her into fried fish, and then asked her if she preferred to return to the sea quietly. The mermaid claimed, as expected of the land dwellers, they intend to separate her from her fluffy by force. She then instantly raised her hand and called out for Leviathan to come out from the ocean. Just then, a giant monster emerged out of the depths of the sea. It seemed too dangerous. Shannon wondered if that was a Leviathan. Locke added that it was the most powerful creature in the sea. The mermaid agreed with Locke and told him that it was the Leviathan, the king of the sea. She ordered Leviathan to go and show them his powers. The monster then introduced himself as Leviathan and claimed that it was nice to meet them. All of them were stunned. Locke greeted him back. "It was nice to meet you too." The mermaid got stunned and asked him what the meaning of that was and if he did not intend to fight. Leviathan replied that she knew that he could not do that, and added that he was sure they would understand if she would just talk to them. Locke took a pause and wondered. The mermaid asked him what he was saying. She added that land dwellers talk with their fists. It was only through the exchange of fists that friendship with them could be forged. She then asked the monsters to just show them a little bit of his power. Leviathan agreed with her and clarified, just a little bit. He then used his power of Storm of the Water Dragon, and a number of water cyclones appeared. Locke stated that the monster's magic was as strong as Fenrir's magic. On the one hand, Where everyone was stunned by that attack, Dalmort called it interesting. Dalmort clarified that she too should show him her true powers. She went back to her original lick state after releasing the illusion magic. She then called out for the spirits of old to come to her. The Sea King got terrified after seeing her in that state. He was literally sweating. He rushed back to the ocean and hid himself in the water. The mermaid yelled at him and asked him where he was going. Leviathan clarified to her that she was scared of monsters. Dalmort sighed. The mermaid claimed to Dalmort that she knew that Leviathan was scared of ghosts. Dalmort replied to her that they did not have any idea. The mermaid then tried to turn the talks and asked Locke why they could not become friends. Locke instantly denied her proposal. The mermaid argued why they could not, as they had already exchanged their fists, so they could be friends then. Locke got pissed and clarified that she was wrong. The mermaid stated that at that rate, she would not be able to ask anyone to help her village. Locke got stunned after hearing about the village. The mermaid stated that they had gargoyles, wyverns, and orange ants too, and asked Locke if he would help her. Locke replied that he did not understand, and asked her what she meant by help. The mermaid explained that some fishmen just appeared out of nowhere, and without completing the talk, she again requested him to help since it was trouble. Locke could not understand what she was saying. The mermaid was not able to understand how she should explain. All of a sudden, Leviathan asked her to let him explain. He started explaining that there lies a village of mermaids at the bottom of that ocean, and 3 days ago it was attacked by a group of fishmen. The fishmen were creatures who were half man and half fish, squid, or shark. However, their fish-like characteristics were more prominent than their human-like characteristics. The monster further added that, however, for the mermaids, their human-like characteristics were more prominent in comparison to their fish-like characteristics. As such, they were two different species. Until then, the mermaids never had any kind of hostile relationship with the fishmen, but they were never particularly close either. There was peace in the village for 100 years. As such, there were almost no villagers with any relevant combat experience. Thus, through a surprise attack, the fishmen took control of the village, and many of the mermaids there were captured. Leviathan disclosed that he might be the guardian deity of that village. He was ashamed to admit that he was not especially skilled in a fight. He added after pointing to the mermaid that May was not in the village at that time, which was why she was fine, and she came to ask the land dwellers for help. Locke understood the situation. Leviathan humbly requested if he would be so kind as to help them. Locke had a problem ahead that even if they agreed to it, if they could not even breathe underwater, how could they fight? Leviathan asked them not to worry since he brought some airgrass with him. Locke wondered what the airgrass was. Given the situation, it was literally called airgrass. Leviathan described that by eating the airgrass, they could breathe underwater for a short while, and the water pressure also would not be a problem. Locke surprisingly stated that he did not know that kind of plant ever existed. So, Leviathan disclosed that it could only be harvested in the mermaid village. Further, he offered that if they helped them free their village, then they could have as much airgrass as they wanted. Locke clarified that he could not put everyone else in danger. Just then, Patra came to Locke very quietly and asked him to let them help them. Shannon stated that she also wanted to help in whatever way she could. Fargoyle also agreed to help. Locke saw them proudly and agreed that if they said so, then it was all right. The mermaid was happy to hear that and thanked them for the help. As we know that she was stubborn, so she proved us right and again grabbed Lucky's tail, exclaiming that it was all fluffy. Lucky, without a second thought, attacked her and sent her flying into the ocean. That was how they came to help the mermaids. It was a move to the mermaids' village. In next scene, they were all seen going underwater to the mermaid village. Locke wondered if it was airgrass. Also, he was in disbelief that he could breathe in water, and he did not feel the water pressure either. Shannon added that it was quite hard to move quickly underwater. Locke agreed with her and replied that it might still be impossible to fight underwater. The wyverns were able to move even underwater after carrying the orange ants on their backs. They moved freely, as if they were used to it. Locke wondered that the wyverns were great since they could use their wings to swim, and the gargoyles used wind magic to move rapidly. Locke realized that it might be possible for him as well. However, Lucky was struggling through this. He was unable to swim. Locke saw him and contemplated that it might be too much for Lucky. Reviewing the situation, Locke asked everyone, aside from Gargoyle, to get into the mini-monster garden. They all agreed. Shortly after, they saw a cave ahead of them, leading into the mermaid village. May asked him to go ahead and challenged Locke to keep up with her if he could. They entered the cave. Locke was trying to see through the cave and suddenly saw some light emerging from the depth of the cave. After crossing the dark cave, they entered the mermaid village, and Locke was stunned. It was one of the most beautiful villages. Everyone was looking at the village and somehow praising it with their eyes. May asked Locke if it was not magnificent. She added that it was all thanks to the special magic that enveloped the village so that no one could see it from above the sea. She further disclosed that no human had set foot in that village for many centuries, so he should feel honored. All of a sudden, the Sea King caught them in their tails, leaving everyone in shock. May asked him what he was doing all of a sudden. A weird figure was seen there, and Locke asked if that was a fishman. The sea monster replied positively and clarified that he was probably on patrol. He then added that the other mermaids were probably inside the queen's castle at the center of the village. Locke asked what they should do and if they should attack them head-on. Leviathan denied and told them that they would use the alleyway that leads into the castle instead, and asked Locke to lead them. Locke then noticed that May was not at her preferred location. May had already rushed outside to face the fishman all by herself. She was facing the fishman there and called him out as stupid. She disclosed that they had exchanged fists with Locke. In the middle of the talk, the fishman rushed towards her. She asked him to stop since she was still talking. The Sea King protected May by taking down the monster. It then turned to her and asked what she was doing. The mermaid replied that she refused to become a coward who takes part in sneak attacks. Leviathan stated that they did not have time for that right then. Just then, the fishman attacked them from behind, but Locke somehow managed to block the attack. He then understood that it looked like they had found them out, and clarified that all that was left for them was to break through. On the other side, the fishman was trying to run away. Locke realized that the fishman was so fast that he himself could not swim fast enough to keep up. Gargoyle asked Locke to grab onto him. Gargoyle then performed his magic of wind burst, which created a powerful force. Soon, they were able to cope up with the speed of the fisherman. As soon as they reached near the fishman, Gargoyle asked him to just attack it. Locke followed the command and attacked him with all his punches. The fishman was busted into the ground by that attack, and both of them exclaimed that they finally did it. Just then, the fishman got back to his feet. Locke and Gargoyle were stunned and wondered if it had no effect. After a moment, Locke noticed that it was not like it had no effect. The fishman again dove through there to attack back on them. Locke observed his movement and asked Gargoyle to turn 50 centimeters to the right. Gargoyle followed his commands. Afterwards, Locke asked Gargoyle to next turn 70 centimeters to the left. Gargoyle followed the same. Gargoyle, being in confusion, asked what was happening. Locke replied it was the same as he expected, since that fishman had been repeating the same movements since the beginning, and those eyes seemed like he was probably brainwashed just like from the Knight's Order. Locke clarified that he did not know who the culprit was, but it seemed that he could not be precise in his movement, which meant that there was a way they could counter that. He then again commanded Gargoyle to turn 3 meters diagonally to the left. Gargoyle agreed and followed what he said. Locke somehow managed to grab the fishman. Locke commanded the Sea King to do it and use his 10 tackles to bind them. The Sea King used his magic and bound both of them together. After that, Locke came out of that, and the fishman remained bound. The mermaid exclaimed that they caught him somehow, but she did not think he could talk though. She added even though back then they could talk normally. Locke was thinking of who did that. Gargoyle took a pause and exclaimed that for them, they should just hurry and rescue the others. They bound all the fishmen through 10 tackles magic. Leviathan claimed that they got all the lookouts. Locke stated that it did not expect there to be so few. Our cozy May was also bound there and was asking why Leviathan bound her up too. Leviathan replied that letting her move freely would have been trouble. She yelled at him, asking what he just said. After a moment, all the mermaids came, and one of the Madeline hugged the mermaid and thanked God that she was safe. She exclaimed happily that she was so glad, as she was getting emotional. Her tears that were dripping out of her eyes were forming crystals. Locke got stunned seeing that her tears were crystallized. They were called pearl tears. Mermaids with large amounts of magic produced those special pearls when experiencing strong feelings. Locke was amazed after knowing that. At that moment, Madeline went to Locke and asked if he was Locke, and she introduced herself to him. She disclosed that she was someone who had the privilege of serving the queen. She thanked Locke from the bottom of her heart for lending them a helping hand. Locke smiled in acceptance of thanks. Just then, Locke came to remember that the more important thing was that they have not gotten everyone back yet. Madeline agreed with him and told that, including the queen, many mermaids had been brought away into the fisherman's village. She disclosed that they were just left behind in that place that was used as a detention facility. Locke understood and exclaimed that they should go and help them right away. But Madeline asked to stop him for a minute and give him a pearl. Locke got stunned and asked her if that was not the same pearl from earlier. She requested him to keep it as that was a thank you from all of them. And they asked Locke if he would help them one more time. Locke happily replied positively that he would help. The scene shifted to the fisherman village. There were a lot of fishermen seen there. It seemed like May, Madeline, and Locke were hiding somewhere. Locke stated to Madeline that there were too many of them. There was a large ship there. Locke asked if that ship belonged to a human and why it was there. On the ship, there was a human and a fisherman having some sort of conversation. Locke exclaimed shockingly that the fisherman could speak, and he asked if he could be the leader. He asked Locke to look at that small boat. When he saw it, it was seen that a mermaid was sitting tied there in the cage. Locke got stunned and wondered if they were selling the mermaids. Locke, May, and Madeline were stunned. The ship was moving. Madeline told Locke that the ship was moving. Suddenly, Leviathan came with news that they had to help, and he would go to get them. Locke asked him to wait for a second. Leviathan asked what that was. So Locke replied that if there were other captured mermaids who were not on that ship, then they should let the ship return to its secret base, determine its location, and then rescue all the mermaids there in one fell swoop. Locke told Seal to follow them and exclaimed that he was counting on her. He instructed her to go follow that ship with the mermaids on it and find their secret base. Seal agreed with his instructions and went to follow the ship. Locke further exclaimed that they should figure out how they could save the mermaids who were locked up in the Fishman village. Madeline requested Locke to let them take care of the guards and disclose that they were caught off guard during their last surprise attack. But they had been training themselves for that. They deeply requested to do the dangerous work since it was a problem. The mermaids must take care of themselves. Locke thought about it and replied that even so, there were too many fishermen for them to handle alone, and it was too dangerous. Suddenly, Lucky and Domwort jumped into the conversation. Lucky claimed that it was dangerous, which is why Locke should leave it to them. Lucky exclaimed super excitedly that they thought about something good back at the monster garden. Domwort wondered what that something good was. Lucky exclaimed enthusiastically that he could not wait to try it out. Locke took a pause and stated that he did not have any problem, but will this become a big commotion? Lucky replied it would be fine. Domwort claimed that he could trust them. Locke agreed with them and commented that he would believe in them. Lucky got very happy hearing that. Madeline asked Wordley if the two of them would be okay by themselves. Leviathan replied that they would be fine and disclosed that in fact, they were probably stronger than him. Madeline got stunned, wondering how that could be possible and who they really were. Lucky asked to let's go then. There were fishermen already. So Lucky and Domwort moved ahead, and Lucky exclaimed laughingly to the fishermen to be attentive, and called them out to witness the power of their combined magic. Lucky and Domwort performed their magic, and a magic circle appeared, and all of a sudden, there was a huge storm that came into the water. Domwort then expanded it to a more vast area. Locke, Madeline, and May, all of them were totally stunned. The result of the magic was that the sea was divided into two halves, and the magic circle reached the skies. Locke exclaimed astonishingly that if the sea was split, all the fishermen were seen struggling to move. Lucky happily disclosed that their movements had been restricted, and then it was their chance. He asked to go and capture all of them, but on a truthful inspection, it was clarified that some of the mermaids could not move either. So he commanded those who could move to just capture them. Orange Ants, Shannon, Patra, Locke, Wyverns, and all of them got engaged to capture the fishermen. They tied them up, and all were lying down there. Just then, another fisherman came out of the cave, and he was stunned to see the environment. He asked what just happened, and when he noticed other fishermen, he exclaimed shockingly that it was impossible. He again asked what was going on there. Locke exclaimed astonishingly that the fisherman can speak. Locke guessed that he must be the ringleader, and then asked him to just release the mermaids he had captured. The fisherman, while putting his hand into his pocket, exclaimed that he did not quite get what was going on, but he claimed that he would not let him have them. The fisherman took out some kind of ball from his pocket, which he was holding in his hand. The ringleader stated to the ball to release his power and eliminate their enemies. The ringleader used the ball's powers and started turning into a horrific demon. Locke got stunned and exclaimed that their powers were greatly amplified. Suddenly, Lucky grabbed him in his mouth and threw him away. The fisherman fell down. Lucky stated that they got a bit stronger, but clarified that they were so slow, so they do not pose any threat at all. The ringleader fisherman exclaimed disappointingly. He then asked the ball to give all of its magic, all of its strength to him. The magic stone somehow turned the fisherman into a gigantic monster. He asked how about then, and claimed that even his speed had increased exponentially. He added that as long as he had that magical orb, he was invincible. Locke, Patra, and Shannon were stunned. Locke wondered what that orb was. The ringleader fisherman exclaimed horribly that they would taste the power of his orb. Patra sneaked behind the fisherman and grabbed the orb from his hand. When he was about to attack, he just realized there was nothing in his hand. Patra smiled at him after holding the orb in her hand. She then turned to Locke and mentioned that she got the orb. Locke took that orb and appreciated her, stating that it was good work. Locke then showed that orb to Domwort. Domwort disclosed that it was emanating a type of magic similar to Lydia's. She added that it seemed she had used some of the data from her research. Locke asked her whether she could investigate that. Domwort replied positively. The ringleader fisherman asked Locke to return it. revealing that he could not do anything without it. Domort exclaimed that finally he calmed down. She threw the orb on the floor, and it cracked. Domort took a pause. The ringleader fisherman screamed aloud for his magic orb, and then he bowed his head in front of Locke and Domort. Domort then stated that she was sure that he would find a better one soon, and asked to not say it like she did it. They tied that ringleader too. After a moment, Locke asked the ringleader fisherman if his name was Pedro, and if he controlled the other fishermen and attacked the mermaids. Pedro replied that he wanted to prove his own worth. He then revealed that he came from a tribe of sharks, but there he was ostracized. He asked if they could see the fin on their backs. He told them that for them from the shark tribe, the size of their fin determined the amount of the magic power they have. He disclosed that his fin was so very small that he was made fun of. Then 10 days ago, he lost his place of belongings, and he was gazing up at the moon when a strange woman and a businessman approached him. They said that they wanted to help him prove himself, and gave him that magic orb. Locke contemplated that the businessman and the woman must have been Lydia. Pedro clarified that he did not understand their motives, as by making the other sleeping fishermen touch the orb, they came to obey his orders, and that was why he used to control them. He asked angrily if that was the case, then why did he attack them? Pedro replied that in exchange for receiving that orb, he was commanded to attack the mermaid village, and he promised to hand over the captured mermaids to the businessman. Madeline asked, even if he was bullied, then how could he act so selfishly? Pedro apologized, but he wanted to prove his worth no matter what. All of them were surprised. Locke then asked Pedro if where the mermaids he handed off were brought to. He replied probably off to Brandon City, and also he could not be too sure. Locke and Shannon were thinking for a while. Locke came to Domort with that orb and asked if she could still analyze that magic orb. Domort took that orb and replied positively that it might take some time, but it was possible. Domort went near Pedro and stated that she could sympathize with his suffering, but that kind of transient power would only destroy him. She claimed that from then on, he could only prove his worth with his own power. Pedro exclaimed surprisingly. Domort further told him that if he could do it, then everyone would forget that he destroyed the orb. Pedro shouted at Domort that she was the one who broke the orb. Domort replied that he should not lie. Pedro got irritated and asked who the heck was that woman. After that, they made their way to Brandon City. The scene then shifted to Brandon City, and the search for the captured mermaids moved to the land. Locke contemplated that the mermaids might be found somewhere in that town. Leviathan suggested that he and the rest of the mermaids who could not transform would remain at sea. Locke wondered if the mermaids could transform into humans. Madeline agreed with Locke and clarified that not everyone could transform. She disclosed that sometimes they transformed to do some shopping in town, and they also had some clothes that could dry quickly. Due to violent storms or pirate raids, there were many sunken ships at the bottom of the sea filled with a lot of valuable treasure which they could use. Locke understood all that. Seal came back and sat on Locke's arm. Locke welcomed him and asked if she found a Jido. Seal replied positively. Locke exclaimed that it was great and asked them to go ahead. There was a building, and Locke wondered if it was there, though he did not see any guards. Locke stated that he was going to have a quick look and asked everyone to stay out there. Everybody agreed with him. Locke moved forward to see and found that the door was left open. He entered through the door, and there were so many monsters locked up in the cages. Locke exclaimed that no matter what monster it might be, it was not natural for them to have these kinds of appearances. As he moved forward, he saw 2 binding magic circles there. Locke wondered if that could be a synthetic magic circle. He thought that he found himself in a place that did repulsive research on monsters. As he moved further, he found a big water tanker in which the mermaids were locked up. Locke asked them if they all were okay, and told them that he had come to help. The mermaids were stunned to see him. Locke realized that the glass was too thick for them to hear him. He then tried to open up the glass through his sword, but it was no good. As he could not open it without a key, the lock was strengthened with magic. A monster called for Locke and asked him if he would like him to tell him where the key he sought might be. Locke wondered and asked who he was. He introduced himself as Drackle, a member of the proud dragon god race, grandson of the leader of the dragon gods, Drad. He was on a solo journey when he was attacked in his slumber. When he came to his consciousness, he found himself locked in there. He offered Locke that if he agreed to free him, then he would tell the whereabouts of that key, and asked him what he thought. Locke contemplated that it was no time for hesitation, so he instantly agreed with him. But Locke put down a condition that first he would free the mermaids. He got the key and opened up the glass. He then went on the top of the glass and asked the mermaids if everyone was all right. He disclosed that he had been sent to help by Sam. The mermaids thanked him. He then asked if everyone was there. One of the mermaids replied negatively and told him that the queen had been taken away to be sold off at the auction. Locke was stunned, and he contemplated that if they were going to enter the assembly hall, then security there would be stringent. and it might get troublesome. So he stated to the mermaids that for then, those who could transform into humans needed to escape from there. The mermaids deeply apologized and disclosed that none of them could escape because none of them could transform into humans. He understood, and he immediately called Shannon, Gargoyle, for help. Everyone came up inside. Locke then opened Drackle's cage as he promised. Drackle came out of the cage and asked Locke whether he would give him his name. Locke introduced himself to him. Drackle exclaimed that he was indebted to him, and for that debt, he would surely return it in due time. Drackle moved out from there. On the other side, there were fishermen too requesting for help. Locke asked if why were the fishermen there, or were they not controlled as well? The fishermen replied negatively and told the reason that they had strong magic, so they were not controlled by Pedro and were handed off to merchants. So they requested help. Locke agreed to help them, but he put the condition that they should not fight with the mermaids once they would get free. The fishermen thanked him, and so they freed the other monsters that they were able to communicate with. Afterwards, they all gathered. They all came up on the seashore, and Locke confirmed if there was only the queen left. Locke asked Lucky if he could follow her scent. Lucky replied that it was probably her scent, so he had no problem and agreed. Locke exclaimed that it was great, so Lucky and he would go. May stopped him and stated that she would go as well. Locke denied, but she claimed that she wanted to help Mama too. Locke was stunned if she called the queen Mama. Madeline then disclosed that May might not look like it, but she was actually a princess. May asked angrily what she meant by that. May kept that aside and asked to let her help too. Locke agreed, but he stated that she must listen to what he says. He asked if she could do that. May agreed quietly. Locke asked Madeline if she could prepare some of the treasure that she had, because in the worst case, they might have to buy her off with gold. Madeline understood and prepared the treasure. Just then, Locke, Lucky, and May went to rescue the queen. Shortly after, they reached there with the help of Lucky. Locke asked if the queen was there. Lucky replied positively, since her scent leads to that place. They had not entered the assembly hall for the auction just yet. Locke clarified that he would go have a look himself first and instructed the two of them to stay outside for then. May, being stubborn, stated that she would go in with him. Locke looked at her. She apologized for that. Locke then calmed her down that he would definitely bring her mother back and asked her to leave it to him. May was about to cry and she agreed with him. She further requested him to take care of her mama. Locke opened the door and entered inside. As he entered, he could see a counter there and a receptionist was sitting who seemed too fat. The receptionist welcomed Locke and it seemed that he was sleepy. Locke contemplated that he had an incredible stench. He greeted the receptionist and disclosed that he heard they sell special monsters there. The receptionist, while cleaning his nostrils, exclaimed that he was quite informed. Locke took a pause and put the money on the counter. The receptionist asked Locke if he knew what he was doing and asked him to follow. The receptionist asked what kind of monster he was looking for. He said that they offer an array from subhumans to fused monsters there. He laughed and stated that he would let you in on something good, which they just brought in an extremely rare creature the previous day. He claimed that Locke was going to find it interesting. As he was sure of that, he further revealed that it was not for sale though. Locke heard rare and he contemplated if he was talking about a mermaid. There was a person who had covered his half face. That person asked to hold it right there. The receptionist and Locke stopped. That lady stated it smells. She repeated herself and asked whether it smelled. Locke was stunned and the receptionist was giving weird expressions. The lady again clarified that it smells and said that it smells so funny. The receptionist asked if that was so. The lady denied as she was not talking about him. She came right in front of Locke and her eyes were shining. Locke was astonished. The lady claimed that an odd smell emanates from him. He wondered if the infiltration mission had already failed. That lady's eyes were looking too scary. Locke seemed frightened. The lady asked Locke if he knew someone called Lydia. Locke replied as if he did not know anything and asked who that was. She again asked him if he really did not know. Locke replied negatively. She confirmed with him if that was really true. Locke was just continuously staring at her. She moved away from there. While going back, she turned and disclosed that she could smell something akin to Lydia's magic emanating from him. She apologized to him for interrupting him. Locke got stunned and she went from there. Locke asked the receptionist who that was. The receptionist replied that she was Risa, the sorcerer, and disclosed that she worked there just like him. He further stated that he was told that she makes magic tools, but even he did not know the nitty-gritty of it. Locke contemplated that she was a woman who knows Lydia, so he should be careful. They both arrived in front of a door. The receptionist opened the door and welcomed him, asking if he was surprised. There was a huge glass, and the queen was inside it. It was stated that for the first time in auction history, it was the Queen of Mermaids. Locke looked at her and understood that she was May's mother. Locke commented that she had an enchanting figure, and though all mermaids were said to be beautiful, That one was a cut above the rest. He further asked the receptionist if he was willing to sell her for how much. The receptionist thought and replied for around 300 million. Locke got stunned and asked if that was that much. The receptionist replied that mermaids were classified as a species who can fight, which was why capturing them was no easy task. He added that what was more, since they were talking about the queen, he should be prepared to pay that much. He then stated that even if he had 300 million, it might be impossible at that time since Grise had been eyeing that one. Locke wondered who Grise was. The receptionist disclosed that Grise was the son of a wealthy merchant who runs that town. He would not hesitate to spend large amounts of money to acquire women or whatever he desires. He told me that he was what Locke would call an idiot son, because soon he would get bored of that mermaid, and she would be thrown away after he is done with her, just like all the other women he had brought since that guy had a really bad personality. Locke took a pause. The receptionist exclaimed that was why he should give up on that one for then. He added that if he really wanted a mermaid, then there would be others who would be sold during the auction, so he should aim to buy the third mermaid that would be auctioned off. He said by that point, the price would have fallen so greatly that he can buy her for cheap. Locke was still thinking about something. Then the receptionist asked Locke if he would join the slave-buying auction that time and what he thought. The receptionist wondered if he was serious. Locke claimed that it was not like he could not participate with his own power. Locke showed him the money. The receptionist took that money and agreed with him. Locke told him to meet 6 days from then at 6 p.m. He also told him that if he talks to Dob, he was sure that he would let him in. After that, Locke came out through the door. May exclaimed that he was back. She asked wordly how Mama was or whether she was safe. Locke replied positively that she was safe for then, but she would be sold at the auction 6 days from then. May was stunned and stated that they had to help her. Locke asked her to stop as there was something that clicked in his mind. He stated that the shop was protected with very powerful defensive magic, and that was why they could not free her using ordinary means. He claimed that if possible, he wanted to free her together with the other monsters peacefully, and what was important was the method they used to save them. He told that for then, they should opt for a more direct approach. So he decided to consult the guards about the illegal slave trade and the fusion of monsters from then. As they moved forward, they saw some guards carrying Drackle with them. Seeing that, Locke asked him why he got caught again. Drackle screamed out and asked why the guards in that town turned a blind eye to the warehouse filled with enslaved demi-humans. He continued that even he informed them about the monsters they fused in there, and asked them if they thought he was lying just because he was a demi-human. The guards then attacked him and asked him to shut his mouth. Locke was stunned there. The guards clarified that they had already told him that it was not because he was a demi-human, but the reason was that the warehouse belonged to Chad, and asked him who would believe that lie. The guard continued that even if Chad were to buy and sell slaves, he was still a wonderful person as he established both the distribution centers and rehabilitation centers there. They then yelled at him to shut up. Locke wondered if Chad was the one selling the slaves. Drackle asked them why don't they conduct a proper investigation, and asked them if they received a bribe from him. The guard got pissed and exclaimed that it was enough from a filthy subhuman, and stated that he could not insult anyone he liked. The guards then asked to take him back, and concluded that they would give him a taste of punishment for insulting them like that. Locke wondered if the guards in that city were conspiring with Chad. He thanked Drackle and stated that he was going to save him soon. But for then, Locke decided to discuss it with everyone else. The three of them headed back to everyone, and Locke explained the gist of all that had happened. He further stated that it looked like the businessmen called Chad had a tight hold on the town, and they would not be able to corner him without any conclusive evidence. He explained that since it involved the Queen and Grise as well, that was why it might be difficult to win through bidding alone. But he stated that there should be another way around that, which was to investigate more about Chad and Grise first. Everyone understood, and they went for the investigation. Madeline, with the mermaids, was asking from different people. On the other side, Locke and Lucky were also engaged in the investigation. Shannon was also helping them out. After investigating, Locke asked them to recap what they had gathered. Chad was without a doubt the same man they saw on that ship. He added that it seemed like Chad would be a formidable opponent because no matter whom they asked, the people in that town stated that he was a good and wonderful person. He continued that when they asked about Grise, they all called him a jerk and the worst. Shannon added that some reports stated they hated him for taking away their wives and daughters, while others accused him of enlisting his own private army and gathering violent monsters in an attempt to take over the entire city. Locke wondered who the heck that guy was. Lucky stated that if the rumors were true, Grise was going to be troublesome to deal with. Just then, Lucky stated that he was hungry. Shannon pumped him up by stating that they should do their best. Suddenly, her stomach growled too. She got ashamed and exclaimed that she did not mean to say that she was hungry or something. Locke clarified that it might be his fault, as he forgot that he had not eaten yet, so he asked them to have luck for them. Both of them were happy hearing that. When Locke was thinking of what he should make for that day, a carriage passed by. Someone from it called Locke a peasant and clarified that he saw the gray wolf with him. He stated that it was looking interesting and asked him to sell it to him, as he was ready to pay a large sum of money for it. Locke replied that it was not for sale, and he would not sell it to anyone. The man smirked and asked if that was the case. At the very next moment, he threw currencies in the sky like it was nothing. He clarified that he would buy the gray wolf for 20 times the market price. Locke was not pleased with his actions. He yelled at him and stated that he already told him that he would not sell Lucky for any price. The man called it incredible as there was someone in the city who did not know his name. He introduced himself as Grise, the only son of the richest merchant in that city, Grad Fandel. Locke got stunned and wondered if that was Grise. He called out that he was a stereotypical definition of a nouveau richer. After that, Locke apologizes, saying that Lucky is not an object, so he will never put him up for sale. The rich man, Grise, insists, "No, sell it to me. There's nothing I can't buy in this town." Grise then turns to his butler, instructing him, "You tell them." The butler replies, "Of course." The butler then explains to Locke that it's not an exaggeration to say that everything and everyone in this town belongs to Grise. Whatever Grise wishes for, Grise shall have. After hearing that, Locke, Lucky, and Shannon are very shocked. We see that everyone worships him, chanting, "Grise, Grise, Grise." They also worship him. Then Grise forces him to sell Lucky to him. But Locke replies, "No, I don't want to." Grise responds, "What a thick-headed fellow." Fine once again. But suddenly Lucky interrupts, saying, "Shut up." He continues, "Listen carefully because I won't repeat myself." It seems like Lucky is very angry. Locke also calms Lucky down, but Lucky continues, "My only master is Locke. It's 1,000 years early for an insect like you to order me around." Then he glares at them, and everyone there suddenly collapses. Locke seems shocked, but Grise remains calm. He doesn't give up. He says, "Your loyalty is amazing. Follow me. I'll feed you anything you want." He shouts to Locke, "Hey, peasant, think of a number and multiply it by 100. Whatever it is, it will be yours." Then, Locke thinks, he endures the pressure from Lucky. Locke then says, "All right, I can tell you where I found Lucky. How about that?" Grise's face suddenly looks very hopeful. After that, Locke says, "However, I'm not looking for money. Let's trade instead. You're looking for something at the auction. Give me the Mermaid King." Suddenly, Grise is shocked. He then responds, "I don't know where you heard that, but no, I can't. Mermaids are far more valuable. Besides, they'll play a part in my plan. My plan." Locke becomes very confused. "A plan?" But then, Grise interrupts, saying, "All right, for someone like you, a poor drifter, this conversation is completely irrelevant." Locke is utterly surprised. Grise then adds, "You're an interesting person. Not many have the courage to stand up to me. I've decided to have you follow me for a while more. Come along." Grise then leads them to his palace. The palace is incredibly bright and enormous. Everything inside is beautiful and expensive. As they walk down the corridor, Locke remarks, "This is an amazing palace, 'cause Lucky can enter with ease." Grise responds, "Of course he did. A lifetime of work wouldn't be enough for someone as low as you to acquire a palace like this." He then says, "The bronze statue here is worth a 1 billion job. It's an exact replica of my imagination." While he continues to explain another one, which is worth 2 million. Locke sees white wolves and he thinks, "If I remember correctly, it became a rare monster because it was hunted too much for its beautiful fur. They look like mini Luckies, and as the rumors said, he collects many rare monsters." Then Grise says, "All right, here we are." Locke is very shocked. They see a feast of delicious food, leaving them all very surprised by the abundance. Grise then says, "Since it's lunchtime, I imagine you're used to eating scraps, so enjoy this well." Locke wonders, what does he think of us? Though suddenly treating us to a meal could also be a threat. But despite this, Lucky and Shannon are very happy to see so much food. Locke stops the two from eating the food, but Lucky says, "Don't worry about it, Locke. There's no poison or anything like that." Locke is relieved, saying, "Oh, all right, I see." Lucky and Shannon then smile. Grise adds, "That's right. I'm not one to stoop so low." He adds, "I can get everything done without thinking about such things. Am I right?" All the servants respond, "Of course you're right." They are cheering Grize's name again. In Locke's mind, he thinks, this is very exhausting. After they have enjoyed the abundant food, they head to Grize's room, and Grize says, let's get to the main topic. By the way, we don't need to worry about anyone eavesdropping while we're in this room. I've taken all the necessary precautions. While Lucky goes to the garden after eating his fill, Grize adds, if you want to know what I have in mind for the mermaids, then go ahead and talk first. Locke agrees, saying, okay. Locke says, Lucky was the boss of the Templar in the Dungeon of Flames of Destruction, located beyond the royal capital. However, I don't know if there's a boss of the same species there again. Grize replies, you mean that unconquered dungeon? If I remember correctly, it's recommended for S-Class. Locke responds, you're well informed. Grize then says, of course I am the son of a merchant after all. All sorts of information keep coming in. Locke then asks, so what will you use the mermaids for? Grize answers, about that. I was thinking of using them for training. Locke, confused, asks, training? Grize explains, it's said that the fishmen will attack the town soon. With a confused look, Locke says, merfolk? Grize explains that the merchant predicted it with a disaster forecasting equipment he has. He correctly anticipated attacks by the white wolves in other towns in the past. Given that mermaids are a combat species, and especially if they have the queen to lead them, Grize thinks they will excel in underwater battles. He plans to have his troops undergo special training, aiming to minimize damage to the town. Locke's then confused, or something similar. Grize continues, explaining that the city leaders say if Chad's predictions are correct this time as well, they will spend a lot of money on buying forecasting equipment from Chad. Grize finds this suspicious. Locke thinks, so such a plan is secretly underway. He then asks, are you aware that Chad is secretly involved in the government's illicit threats and chimera experiments? Grize responds, I've heard something about Chad, but there's no solid evidence. He's good at handling things discreetly. Locke then explains what he knows about Chad. As soon as Chad arrived in this town, he set up free food distribution and healing stations. In no time, he gained the trust of the townspeople. Many guards have been corrupted by his influence. Without solid proof, there's nothing we can do. Then we see Grize's very menacing expression. He says, those damned wandering slave traders act high and mighty in my town. Locke responds, we need evidence as soon as possible. He adds, but hey, you're different from what the rumors said. I heard that you were just a loaded snotty brat. It turns out you're rather clever. But Grize says, nope, I'm still a loaded snotty brat. In fact, please think of me as such. He smiles and says, that will make negotiations easier after all. Locke is shocked how easier the negotiation goes. He asks one more serious note to help him corner Chad if he manages to secure evidence. Grize agrees because that's his hoping too. Locke adds another request. If Grize wins the bid for the Mermaid Queen, give her to Locke. Grize is shocked to hear that, but Locke says that if he is looking for an instructor for underwater training, Locke can provide not just one but several instructors for him. Moreover, he can do that right now. With a confused face, Grize says, what do you say? Now he looks like furious, and then with a sharp gaze, he says, your name was Locke, right? Suddenly he smiles and extends his hand for a handshake. You got my attention, you have a deal. It's a pleasure, Locke. Locke shakes his hand and says, same here. And finally, Grize and Locke start working together. After that, Locke goes back to the beach. He asks De Morte, what does she find out about the orbs? She replies that she broke a leg with that investigation. She sacrificed her sleep and worked herself to death. And against all odds, she finished it. She explains that she found something very problematic. That orb not only is for manipulating people, but also works as a mana-gathering device. Locke is shocked to hear that, and then she continues that the presumed purpose of mana in the orb is the resurrection of the demon that once threatened to destroy the world. Locke is very shocked. A demon? She answers that she doesn't know the details, but by combining insights from past documents, it points towards that interpretation. Moreover, the magnitude of magical power is not within human realms. Locke guesses that it could be the original demon. De Morte is confused. Original? Is that what they call it now? Locke confirms, yeah, Shannon is under the curse of that demon and... Suddenly De Morte interrupts. From what I've heard, there's a high possibility that it's also the mana of that demon. Locke asks, the demon's resurrection, who'd even think of such a thing? But she says, well, I'm talking just about a possibility here. However, if my speculation is correct, and assuming it's the demon as the legends describe, the world will be in great turmoil upon its resurrection. To prevent that from happening, we should urgently find the one who created the orb and stop the resurrection of the demon. Locke wonders who the one created it. In his mind, he thinks, in that case, Liza, who seems to be making magical tools at Chad's shop, is the most suspicious. He then asks De Morte to continue the research on the demon, and she nods. From then until the auction, Locke dedicated several days to thorough information gathering with Chad on the demon-related matters. On the day before the auction, people are forming a line to get free soup from Chad. They are very happy and thank Chad for his kindness. Locke, Lucky, and Shannon watch them from afar. There is also a free healing station there. Everyone is very happy because their wounds have healed. They are still watching from a distance, and Lucky says that Chad is really got all the people wrapped around his finger. Locke agrees and says, if only he weren't involved in shady affairs, it would be perfect. Suddenly, they see so many people gather around the guild notice board. They go to read it, and Chad writes an announcement. To all adventurers, fishmen might attack the town in the next few days. Please prepare and be ready when that day comes. This is an emergency quest. Everyone is very excited waiting for the fishman arrival, and then suddenly Locke sees someone crying. When they approach him, Locke remembers that he's the same kid as before. But the kid is shocked to see Lucky. He shouts, a huge dog? While Lucky feels insulted for calling him a dog, Locke tries to calm him down, but he cries more and more. He apologizes to Lucky and asks him to go inside. He tries to calm him down again by saying that the big dog isn't around anymore, but the kid is still crying. Locke thinks he made things worse, and then Shannon asks to leave him to her. Shannon calms him down with ease and offers him cookies, and he thanks her. The boy then says that he is hungry, but that's not it. His little sister has disappeared. Shannon asks, where did she disappear? He explains that his sister tripped and injured her leg, so she went to the healer. And then he formed to get some food, but when he came back, she wasn't here anymore. The guy at the tent said she had already gone back, yet she's nowhere to be found. Shannon understands what happened and suggests that the big god from earlier has a good nose. She's sure he can help to find his sister. She asks if he would like to look for his sister together with Lucky, and he says, yes. Finally, Lucky is back. Shannon turns to Locke and Lucky and apologizes because she made promises without asking any of them. Locke says it's fine, while Lucky says I'll let him call me dog for now. Locke then commands that it's Lucky's turn, and then they jump high over the sky by riding Lucky. The boy looks really amazed and says he likes it. Locke says that Shannon is quite good at handling kids. She responds that she had a younger brother who was several years younger than her, and she also thanks him for the compliment. She then asks the boy if he and his sister have their parents around, which unfortunately they don't. At that time, a pack of white wolves attacked the town where they lived, and his father and others defended the town. Shannon apologizes because she made him revive some painful memories. He then continues that since they have relatives in the capital, they were on their way there, but his sister tripped and got injured. Suddenly, Locke is very shocked to see a tattoo behind the boy's neck, and then Lucky says that they arrived. They are shocked because they stop at Chad's mansion. Lucky says, it's just that I can smell the aroma of the boy's sister, together with a lot of other children gathered inside. Locke is very shocked. No way, he used those free healing points to abduct orphans who went for treatment? Suddenly a guard notices them, and then they run away. He says, we have to go to Grize's now. Let's devise a plan after that. In Grize's mansion, we see Grize just woke up. Locke then asks him to take care of the boy for a little while. Grize is confused, but he'll take care of him. Locke apologizes and promises to explain the situation later. Also, there's something he wants him to investigate. Meanwhile, Shannon gives an explanation to the boy that they couldn't get his sister back earlier, but they won't give up. They will definitely find his sister and asks him to wait for them there. The boy is moved by her word because that's what his sister always says. He hopes that they can take care of his sister. Locke then goes to the auction, but the girl says that Dob is not available around this time. He understands and asks, You mentioned a Lydia something earlier, right? What about it? It's just that I heard a rumor while walking around in the city. It seems like that woman is hiding in the western beach. The girl is shocked to hear that information. Locke continuous. They said that after the horde of undead flooded the capital, she got seriously hurt or something. She then replies, I knew it. Locke says that was her mana after all. I can't confirm any of this, but since it looked like you were trying to find her, I thought I'd let you know. I'll take my leave now and please tell Dob I said hi. The girl seems believe the information. Outside, in Locke's mind, he thinks, with this, we have finished spreading the bait. Now let's exchange information with Pedro and the mermaids, and then rescue the boy's sister and the others. And finally, the manga ends here. This is the last chapter translated, which is chapter 30. Well then, it's time to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Just get to it. We can't have a lot of releases without you. Have a safe trip. Bye.